family, I am trying to help a brother out that's trying to figure out how to learn this stuff here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go post on his channel so he can hit this live right there. Hopefully he clicks on the link because I'm trying to show him how to use how to do this stuff. The brother Chris referred me to him. There it is right there.
We're connecting. Link, okay. I don't see the link yet, but once I see it, I'll connect.
Oh fuck! YouTube is blocking it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help this brother out to get his live going on.
YouTube is blocking it. Let's see. Here's my email.
Yeah.
Hold on, Papa.
Okay, all right.
What's up?
So
hold on a second.
can I get this so I could wait
Lovely,
so you could buy me a Labubu?
Yeah, check about it. Check about it.
Okay.
Yeah, go. Let's go, Papa.
Yeah. Okay. Yo.
Connecting as a people. It can also be a greeting. Sent it. All right. Let's check it out. Just waiting to get it. I've been studying up on etiquette too. What do you mean by that? Leaves etiquette as far as like what type of etiquette? Emmanuel Israel. Oh, we got almost the same name, dude. Just accept the I. Let's see. No, hold on. Let me get you through my email. See how it works. Hold on. Give me a second.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Perfect, bro. All right, man. All right, brother. Okay, perfect, man. All praise to the Most High, man. Listen, I'm a brother Chris, who's watching you, referred me to your channel out of nowhere. And okay, so here's what we do. So pause your background on your end, like mute whatever it is that you're listening to when it comes to YouTube, because it does that. So there's a lot of intricacies with what's going on. Now, I don't know if you want to put your people like on a live or like at least to make them hear. But I'm just gonna show you some real quick so you can put it right back to your channel. I'm not trying to get off your fire, bro, because I really appreciate this shit. So first of all, mucho gusto en conocerte, brother.
Likewise. You caught me by surprise. Glad I listened to my intuition, eh?
Hey, remember. Wait. Hey, check it. Remember, you have to mute the background. Whatever it is that you're listening to, you have to mute everything in the background,
Oh,
except
okay.
your
All
voice
right.
with
Give me a
me.
second. Give me a second.
Yeah, there you go. You good? You good now? You good now? You good now? No, no, no. You good? You good.
Okay.
But wait, hold on a sec. So, see, you have like two windows open. You have two windows open or some shit because I can see the window open.
Okay.
So
Give
I'm
me a
gonna
second.
close this one. I'm gonna close this one. You see this now?
Yes.
Right. So there's like little things that you have to do and shit, stuff that I had to learn. So what I'm gonna do is kind of understand, kind of show you real quick, so you can go back to your to what you're doing, bro. Because I don't want to take that from you, man. I think this is so important, bro. Like I do a channel, I have a certain thing that I do, and I'm not trying to influence everybody on this concept, pero I always talk about our people, la historia de nosotros, donde venimos, and all that stuff, right? I bring Bible stuff, so I don't want to influence your gente, because I think what you're doing is the first step. Get out there and fucking talk. See or no?
No, of course. I agree.
Okay. So let me show you this. What I was saying to you was so what I was saying to you was that there are these things here that we use. So this right here, what I use is called Restream. Okay? So what Restream does, and look, I'm gonna block out of my channel. More likely they're not gonna see me. But this is how it works. Look. It says you're gonna leave. I just left. Now I'm coming back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So right. So this is a platform that we use. Okay. Now there's a like a late there's a leniency in the sound, so there's still another window open. Somehow, some way, you still have another window open because your communication should be clear with you and I, unless you want to show videos. Because as soon as you show video, I know it's a lot, bro, but when you show videos and you want to talk, there's gonna be a echo. It's kind of like music, right? You're playing music, you got a microphone, and you'll be like, "Hey, mute that shit," right? Because you can't have two sounds together at the same time. So the way it works is with videos and sound is the same way. So what I was saying to you was like, there's several platforms that you can use, like Restream, or there's another platform that you can use that's called StreamYard. So what happens at that moment is that you set up or you schedule your videos through that platform, and then automatically what it does is it picks it up on YouTube. I'm gonna show you. Look, watch this. It picks it up on YouTube on this end right here. That's why I was saying to you, hey, what platform are you using? Because like what I'm using is like right here. You see that? So I pick it up from YouTube on this end, but I started it from this end. You get what I'm saying? So
Okay.
it'll pick it up from this end, right? Automatically. But it starts somewhere. So you can use Restream or you can use StreamYard. And then, and by the way, Google that stuff, right? Because it's going to educate you. Pero siempre vas a tener que usar este link cuando estás en YouTube or any other place you want to do the video with. So it's just basically like that. You get what I'm saying? Now,
Okay.
when you want to use or invite people on this platform, check it. When you want to invite and use people on this platform, that's what I was saying. Like, hey man, you can see that right there. It says invite guests.
Okay.
You click on that, click on that, click on that, click on that, bam, boom, and then all people have to do is just click on that, and you can just show it. So again, I use Restream. You can use StreamYard. The point being is this: you have to have a como una like a vehicle to get to use the engine. You follow?
Okay. Okay.
Just like that.
Damn. Well, thank you for putting me on, dude. I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Okay, so you see that right there? Did you hear that? Did you hear that you spoke and you heard an echo?
Yes.
Okay, so something on your side is still open. There's you haven't muted something. So mute that. Mute that.
Let me see. Let me go to my. Hold on. Let's try that. How's that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it more clear, or you still hear an echo?
No, you're good. Whatever you did, that's it.
It was the YouTube, the live. It was still going, and I had this going. So I didn't know how that worked, but I muted the other one, and now it works.
Right, si es por eso. So, cuando estás tú hablando conmigo, you speak Spanish?
Yeah, Simón.
Cuando estás hablando conmigo, entonces el micrófono, así es como lo tienes que manejar. Cuando quieres escuchar, ver como let's say like videos like this, for example, like I can see you in the video, right here. I can see you in the video. Like I can see you in the video, right? And then that's going to have like latency right there. We're about 10 seconds behind from what they say. Look, watch this. I don't know why that sound is not clear. I don't know why it's not sounding, but for whatever reason you can't hear. Maybe see that's important to know too. So you have to be mindful of those things. So that's why when you're using this system, you have to be mindful of the sound. You have to be mindful of like the video. Like it's not a simple system, but take your time. I already see that you got about 400 followers. So you already been doing this for a little bit for some time, right? Pero aprende esto. Like take your time and figure out like how you want to, how this works for you. Don't do things that are too extreme. Everything's gonna come in its moment. And I'll tell you what, bro, like I appreciate Chris, bro. I love that brother, man, because you know what I'm saying? He met me online and he knows what I think about. But I always told him, listen, anytime you get a chance for me to connect with my brothers, bro, you let me know and I can help people. So if you need me to show you how to do thumbnails to like promote your up and coming video, I'll show you that stuff too. So everything's at its time, right? Pero eso es muy fácil, bro. Just keep it simple. I would say use this Restream. I think that's free if you don't go more than like an hour or some shit. But if you want to use, like do more stuff, there is a fee. I think it's 190 or $200 a year.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad, bro. We all work hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, esas cosas ni se importa. If you're trying to put the message on, $200 don't mean shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So then that means that, you can do all kinds of stuff because you can do like, for example, you can create things like that. You can, like and post it before you start, or you can do a background like what I'm doing in the background, like what I'm doing right there in the background. Hold on a second. Let me show you. Hold on. The background that you see right there, I created that video, right? But this system allows you to put that type of video while you're showing your face. So for example, let's say I go like this, right? I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep for a second. See that? Let's say that was just you, right? See that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like that background, I created the MESHIACHA Chronicles. I created the ST1492. So there's things that you can implement within your platform. So you can, it depends on how far you want to go with this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's different, bro. Like everybody has their own, way of how they want to communicate with information. Me personally, that's just what I like. I like to do this stuff.
Hold on. Can I let me end the live and then we can just swap for yours for now. If you're okay with that. If you're okay with that.
You mean on your side?
No, on your
you're streaming. You want to continue mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go, bro. Like I want to hear what you got to say, bro. And I'll be quiet the whole time.
Let me just
go for it.
Hold on. Let me end this.
Tell your people. Hold on. Tell your gente to come over to this side.
Ooh, how do I do that?
I mean, here's the link that I gave you when the email posted on your end. because if you have authority to post stuff on your end, so just copy and paste.
So the studio stream.
Copy and paste to the email on your end, and then post it on your site. Because see, if I'm over here watching your live, I can't post my stuff on my link because automatically YouTube's gonna be like, no. But you're the administrator, so you can post whatever you want, whatever link you want.
Give me a second. All right, so it's there. Should I
but
just,
you know
should I
what,
just
though?
leave it going?
No, I don't know. Chris says that he sees both of your channels.
No,
Leave
he
your
sees-
channel.
he
out.
sees you.
No, we see both on your channel. What do you mean? I mean us, or what are you talking about, Chris? Whatever. I know it's up to you, bro. If you whatever you want to do, man, it's up to you.
It says here we see both on your channel, not on his channel.
Oh, I see what he means. I see what he's saying. I see what you mean. That's funny. Hold on a second. Let me put myself up again. There you go. There, right there. That's it. We're good. We're both on the channel.
All right, cool. So what would you like to know? That way I could get a little you could get my mind going.
Now, man, you know what? Chris was telling me, yo, check out my brother over here. And I started listening to what you were saying. And I was like, yeah, man, fuck it. I want to help.
Okay.
So you let us know what exactly is it that you're doing. And, let's push forward.
All right. So for starters, my real name's Emmanuel Acero. I started the YouTube channel Acero Cultura Anáhuac. For people who ask why Acero, is because it's my version of the history. So I've been doing this for prior to the YouTube channel, I've been reading a lot of books, from the Spanish version to the Indigenous version. So I started buying books from Oaxaca, and I would have them mailed to my house and I would read them. As a matter of fact, I'm covering one right now. Pedagogia Tolteca. This is all from Oaxaca.
Hey, do me a favor, bro. Do me a favor. I don't know if it's on your end, if the stream is blurring your like it's probably you know how they talk about pixels, because you just showed the book and we couldn't see it clearly. Show that book again. What is it called?
Pedagogia Tolteca.
Because in this channel, people read, bro. Like, oh, we show books here. So this is beautiful, man. Say it again.
Pedagogia Tolteca.
You guys see it? Take a picture of it.
So
Go for it, man. I think I got it. I think they got it.
You're not gonna find them on Amazon. You have to go from a man from Oaxaca. You gotta send him a what do you call it when you wire money to Mexico? What do you call that? A Western Union.
Yeah, Western Union.
He gives you his address, and you send it to I think it's something Banco Azteca, and he mails it to you. It takes about almost close to a month. So I got a whole stack. Yeah, it's expensive. Just the shipping's expensive. But I'll list for everybody to see. I'll show everybody the books. But the main thing that got me going with this was that I was always sold this lie that you're not Mexican, tú eres Americano, you're an American. So I grew up with that, and since I'm
hermano, listen, what can we? Sorry to cut you off real quick, man. Before you get started, what can we call you? What's your what name can we go by?
You call me Acero. I'll go by my last name. Acero.
Okay. Acero, permíteme, hermano. I'm gonna use the bathroom. You fucking take over. I'll be right back, bro. I'll be right back.
All right.
Now, go ahead. Go with what you were saying. What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. So I grew up thinking, well, I'm not Mexican. My parents, they're both field workers. Growing up like that, and being told constantly, "Oh, you're an American. Tú no eres mexicano." And I grew up with that. And me being light skinned, some people came to the point where they thought I was white. So I just kept going with that. Until one day I had a white man tell me, "You're a fucking wetbag," and he said it like that. And for 4 years or 5 years, it was stuck in my heart. Until one day I was sitting in the couch watching Apocalypto, and something told me something ain't right about this indoctrination that my parents have been instilling in me. So something told me, go on Amazon and just buy whatever you can regarding cultura. So I bought like about 15 books. I read everything from the basics of La Revolucion, the history of Mexico, Zapata, Pancho Villa, the Aztecs. So I started with that. That was my foundation. And then I started digging deeper, and I started learning a lot of the lies that we've been indoctrinated with. So something inside of me motivated me to start a YouTube channel, and that's initially what got me started. And then the concept of Mexican as a nationality, I started really looking into that, and I learned that they are right. It is a nationality to the Spaniards, to the Japanese, to the Chinese, people who are not mestizos. So the word Mexican originally was created for the first. If we follow the history of Gonzalo Guerrero and his Mayan wife coming together and having the first children, the first mestizos, that's who the word Mexican was originally created for. So when I realized that, I see how much they're trying to strip our people of their identity. When a lot of Mexicanos, especially the ones born here in the States like myself, we're called Mexican Americans, but then America's an entire continent. It's not just
Right.
here. So that people in Mexico are Americans too. This notion that, oh, I'm not Mexican because I wasn't born there, is complete BS. Yes, because Mexican is a meaning that you're a mestizo.
Yeah. We got another person visiting. What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Sorry.
Oh, I guess he showed up to the wrong link. And by the way, in my channel, when I post up the link for people to visit, they're always welcome to. I debate hardcore people here, so sometimes they'll probably click in, and then they'll disappear. But it's all good. Continue with your thought, bro. Don't even trip.
So that's mainly the whole premises of why I started this channel, because I came to the realization high school. I had his name was Mr. Lopez. He came into the class and he's like, "Do you guys think you guys are Mexican?" And I raised my hand. I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, you're not Mexican. You weren't born there." So this colonized philosophy is heavily pushed on Mexicans born in the United States, but it's all bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Mexican is a bloodline, and it is up to us, because remember, it's been 500 years. We've been stripped from understanding what indigenous tribe. The Spanish, you could kind of tailor with your last name, but the tribe, where does your family really originate from? That's the hard part. So when I started learning all this, learning September 16, a lot of us like to celebrate it Mexican Independence Day, but what independence? When I learned that the sons of the Spaniards took over. Those are not Mexicans because they're not mestizos. Mexico hasn't had independence. It had an illusion of independence at the expense of the mestizos and the indigenous people. And this is when we have people coming over and they're field workers. It's because that's what they were doing when the criollos and the Spanish were in.
Right. Hold on a second. Somebody, look, I'm gonna let some people come in, and if they get a little weird and shit, I'll take them out real quick.
You're good, man. You're good.
What's up, dude? How you doing, dude? Dude, you don't want to talk? Okay, move on. Let's go. Okay, keep going, bro, because I'm going to show you something real quick. Go ahead. Well, you know what? That's important. That's actually important, because I think that your angle and a lot of us that have other angles, that doesn't mean that you're incorrect, nor I don't think a lot of us are incorrect. Let me show you this real quick. There's a here. You ever heard of these people? The Lutherans?
I have not. Please, I have not. Enlighten me.
Okay, check this
Enlighten
out. So one thing about me is I read a lot, bro, just like you. You know what I'm saying? And this started back in 2016, 2017, 2018. And it's just, I believe in God. So I believe that God started putting these things in front of me. Because I started asking, who am I? Where the fuck am I from? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of just like not knowing who the fuck I am. Es lo primero, güey, porque te enfadas, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I think everybody cares about where they're from. Honestly, this is what I believe. So, I started finding stuff and really awkward information. So this is a Lutheran Witness newsletter from the 1900s, from like 1900. Check it out. So when you talk about people wanting to keep away knowledge from us, this is not a joke, bro. Not only were they trying to keep knowledge away from who we were, but even them trying to keep away even the Bible. Even the Bible, bro. Like, I mean, how damaging could that be? You know what I'm saying? If we're heathens like what they say, if we're savages, right? Because that's what they came and told us that we were savages. So check this out. In September, hold on, let me go back. Yeah, September 7th. Go back up real quick. October 7th, 1 more month. So they write these things every week or 2 weeks, right? They're like write articles and shit. September 21st. September 7th. There it goes right there. So we see here, you can see that, right?
Yes.
Lutheran newsletter, the Lutheran Witness, September 7th, 1900. So for anybody in the back that thinks we're lying, and the brother over here is why he's fighting for our heritage, this is why you guys need to understand how come it is in our spirit that we're so adamant about trying to find out who the hell we are. Because for a long time, we were told to do a lot of things that we weren't supposed to. So September 7th of 1900, the Lutheran Witness criticized the Christian Catholics. So anybody that's religious, I'm not attacking you for being religious. I'm attacking the institution that you fell behind. And it says right there, Dr. Francis Borden relates the following about the first Bible printed in Mexico in the Christian Advocate. The printing press came to Mexico in 1539. For in that year was printed in Mexico in Spanish, the brief compendium of Christian doctrine. So now, since you're here, I do want to share this with you because I think that it's important. Since we're learning about what we've been, ¿cómo se dice? Promulgated to believe, right? Check this out. The Mexican pyramids, I think. Where is that page at? Hold on a second. Misterios. Yeah, I even read it in Spanish. Misterios. Where you at? There it goes right here. So this is from the book called Los Misterios de las Pirámides de Mexico, or Mexicanas, right? On page 16, look what they said about it. Remember, I had just read earlier regarding how, remember, and I think you know this, brother, you have to use history and tienes unos libros y luego los comparas con otros libros y dicen unas cosas en unos libros y luego referencian otros libros, ¿sí o no?
That's right. Sí.
Right. So entonces aquí está hablando de Christian Compendium. So you're like, Christian Compendium, what the hell is that? This is what it is. In this book, Los Misterios de las Pirámides Mexicanas, en la página 16 dice, de acuerdo que con los españoles, el único conocimiento que podía adquirir un indio era el Padre Nuestro, el Ave María, el Credo y los 10 mandamientos. Leer y escribir se consideraba que era para ellos tan peligroso como el diablo, güey. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Okay, so now let's go back to this. Now that's in 1539, right? Am I lying?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay,
no,
cool.
You're good.
Sounds good. So let's go this. So it says here, let's go in here. Let me get rid of that. Let's let that go disappear and shit. It says here. All right. The printing press came to Mexico in 1539. For in that year there was printed in Mexico in Spanish a brief compendium of the Christian doctrine. We all know what that is now. Every raza, every Mexican knows that shit. Every one of us fucking knows that. Now, let me tell you something that's so sad. The only time that we were able to use Padre Nuestro, Credo, Diez Mandamientos was when we were in confession. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
To keep you docile, keep you in sin, and this is all you have to know. Okay? Now, it says here, Christian Compendium of the Christian Doctrine under the auspices of the Bishop Fray Juan Zumarraga. Now, there's a lot of history with him, and I'm not going to touch it right now. That was just 81 years before the Mayflower brought the first pilgrims to the Plymouth Bay. From 1539 to 1810, when the immortal Hidalgo raised the cry of Mexican independence, or during the 271 years of Spanish rule and misrule in Mexico, Spain not only did not give Mexico a Bible, but sternly prohibited the publication of any part of the sacred scripture in the language of the Mexican people. The prohibition, remember, September 7, 1900, right? The prohibition is still in force with regards to the printing of a Bible in any of the 52 different languages and dialects spoken to Mexico. The first edition of the Bible in Mexico was printed in Latin and in Spanish Mexicans in Mexico City between 1831 to 1833. It appeared in 25 volumes with an atlas and cost over $200, so that still remained a prohibited book to the great majority of the people. Now, if they really cared about us Christian Catholics, why would they deny the understanding of the whole book?
Well, a lot of his power.
Right.
Control.
But remember, what did they teach us? The Christian Compendium. So all we needed to know about this book, regardless of how you feel about religion, it don't matter. I'm not even talking about that right now. All we needed to know about this book was not even the shit that the book said, the stuff that they created.
Yeah, the doctrine.
Exactly. So now let me say this to you. This is in September 7th, 1900. I'm going to tell all the gente that's listening right now, in case you just didn't catch it. It's only been 100 years since we had the chance to learn how to read and write, bro. Now I understand how heavy it is for you. That's why I fucking jumped on the fact that you're doing what you're doing. We just had about 100 years, maybe 80 years of knowing or having the authority to read and write, bro. So when you're speaking mind, when your mind is speaking, what do you think that means? How long was your mind suppressed for?
For a long time.
While other people, by the way, I want to say this, in America, having colleges claiming to go through slavery, they had colleges in 1895, in 1900, in 1901. We weren't even allowed to read, brother. Who's a real slave? This is why when I share my stuff in my channel, people don't like to show up to my channel, because I speak facts. Because this is what happened to my people. And the only reason I know this, because my grandma was born in 1903. The mom of my mom. My mom's 87. She's still alive. I'm almost 50. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a little older. So I had a chance, and I was born in Guadalajara. So I had the chance to still communicate with some of that knowledge. And my grandma, abuelita, shit, like, nah, we didn't know no Bible. Shit. They would hurt you if you wanted to look at it. So what do you say to our people that are trying to figure out who they are? Now you understand why your fight is so strong?
Well, for the people who want to know who they really are, they're gonna have to let that colonized mind. That's number one.
I'll be quiet now.
Number two, Number two, you gotta understand that there's always two sides. To the coin. You got the Spanish version. As you mentioned with the Bible. And then you got the indigenous version. Three. A lot of the concepts, a lot of the ideologies that we have don't come from our indigenous people. They come from the people who have been in power for over 500 years. Those are the Spaniards. The criollos, the gacho.
Hey,
They were not.
hold on.
They were
Break
not.
down the criollos. For people that don't know what that means, the ones in the back, break down what criollo means to us.
So for starters, Agachupin are the original who came from.
Hold on a second. Break down gachupin because our people don't know what that means. So break down gachupin and break down criollo.
Okay, so Agachupin are the Spaniards that came from Spain. The criollos are the sons and daughters of Spaniards who were born in Mexico.
Hold on a second. I'm gonna show you how to add that to your channel, bro. Don't even trip. Go ahead.
That's dope.
Go ahead. You good? Go ahead. Keep going.
So that's what it is. Let me just make sure that the bad echo on my side.
Yeah, he said because you know what? You have another probably. Hold on. Maybe that's it. Maybe this is it. Go ahead. Let's see. Keep talking.
How about now? Is it better?
Is it better? Does he have an echo? Let him know, please. We don't want an echo here. Go ahead. Keep talking. Maybe they'll let us know.
Okay, so a criollo is the sons and daughters of the Spanish who were born in Mexico. So when we talk about September 16, oh, que viva la independencia, let's really break it down. When the Spaniards found out that their sons and daughters were upset because they couldn't hold positions of power, because remember, they had a system of castas, and they were hold a tier below their parents because they were not born in Spain. You can hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah, for sure. You're full life, bro.
All right. So when the sons and daughters were getting upset, they called for the revolución. This is where you have the grito de Miguel Hidalgo. Well, who did they call to help the Spaniards born in Mexico to assist them? The mestizos and the indigenous people. They were used as battle instruments to go fight their parents. So when the Spaniards figured, hey, we're going to go into war, at the same time, Spain was under that captivity, I believe, of the French. If I'm Napoleon Bonaparte is French, right? I'm not.
He's definitely French. Yeah, he's definitely French.
Yeah. So Spain was under the captivity of the French. So the Spaniards, the ones from Spain, they're like, you know what? Let's just shake hands with their sons and daughters, and let's bring them into positions of power. That was the Mexican independence. There was never any independence because when you're independent of that people 100%. Yep. And this is why our gente, the biggest business in Mexico is for our gente, mestizos and indigenous, to immigrate out of Mexico, go to somebody else's home so that we can Europeanize Mexico and take advantage of these people who can't defend themselves. That is what September 16 really is. It's a bullshit ass Independence Day. It's not real. It never happened. It never took place.
Hey, well, tell us about that whole understanding of capichones and criollos. I think you need to go deep on that shit because I think your people don't know about that stuff. Because I mentioned it.
So, okay, so I'll start it like this. We're gonna go with the concept of Mexico as a nationality, and then we'll break it down from there.
There you go.
When the got, because we got to understand that before these lands, North America, California, Arizona, Texas, Utah, before they were called Mexico, it was called New Spain because it was under the control of the Spanish, the ones who came from Spain. They were controlling these lands for 300 years. Then the quote unquote Mexican independence happened, and who took over? The Gachupines, the sons and daughters of the Spanish. And they all they did was change the name of New Spain to Mexico.
Let me pause real quick. For you guys that don't understand, see, Raza in Mexico understands what gachupines are, okay? This is why when you have wabos over here talking bullshit and trying to educate you guys on some shit that they don't even know about, listen, it's so expansive. Like the history is so expansive. You can't isolate your own belief on, well, it was a black thing, and no, stop it, man. Like, let's put it this: if you ask any of them, since we took their heritage, would they even know what gachupinas are? No. Then that's why I so emphasize for Arasa to really understand these words, write them down, look them up. If you have to Google them, it doesn't matter. Look what I did with the brother. Didn't we just do that? We Googled, hooked it up, right? I was on your live and say, hey, do this, do that. And I said, like, man, let's make it work, bro. That's exactly how you're supposed to approach the information when it comes to somebody trying to take your heritage. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
So yeah, so when the sons and daughters of the Spanish shook hands with their parents, the Gachupinas, the ones originally from Spain, Mexico, because remember, the word Mexican before any of this was created for the first mestizos. And that story comes from Gonzalo Guerrero. A lot of Mexicans don't know about Gonzalo Guerrero. A lot of them don't. And his Mayan wife. Gonzalo Guerrero landed at the coast of, I think it's Monterrey. His ship was wrecked and he was taken by the Mayans. Well, since he knew a lot about battle, the Mayan chief took him and he taught the Mayans how to fight, to the point where he fought with the Mayans and Chichen Itza against the Spanish. And he earned a lot of respect around the Mayan community, the Mayan tribes. So he married the Mayan woman and he had the quote unquote, the first Mexicans, the first mestizos. Wow. The word Mexican was originally created for us, signifying that we come of mixed race, meaning have indigenous and some form thereof of European. Now in Mexico, you have 68 tribes. The Spaniards went all over Mexico, raped and pillaged and spread their seed, and then destroyed everything so that we can forget who we are. Our job now is to figure that out and to hone it, to own that we are mestizos and that the word Mexican is an umbrella signifying that we are indigenous to an extent and we are European to an extent. We are the, some people call the aftermath of
so let me say this in case you don't know this. Do you think that only white people came to conquer America?
What was, from what I've read, it's different types of white folks.
Well, okay. Right.
And they brought the the Mexico brought kept the African Americans, so there was a mix there too. As far as I've read, that's as much as I've known.
So this is why I always suggest, and anybody that wants to like follow this channel, that they have thick skin, because we were taught a lot of really incorrect information. Not that the history that we know is incorrect, but from what I found, man, we've been lied to for quite some time. So there's a book that I and I never really bothered to order. I don't even know why I never order it, to be honest with you. But this guy, his Andrew Lewis Gates, that's his name, and he's the first so-called African American, I guess, that admitted that it wasn't just a white man that came to conquer these lands, that the white and the black man had both access to this atrocity of coming from 1492. And that at every chance where you see a Spaniard, you saw a black man being a black conquistador. So since I know that history, what do you think about that?
I think it's a high probability, because I've read in other literature that when Hernan Cortez pulled up to the coast, that he had people that were black, African Americans with them. So I do believe that you're onto something here. I do.
That's the thing. Like, I've been teaching this since 2022 regarding how we, like, I'll give an example. we were taught that the Anglo brought diseases to our country, right? Because they were dirty and all that shit, right? You know that story, right? Okay. Did you know that they did bring diseases, but they brought French pox? Do you know who brought smallpox?
Yes. So I read another piece of literature that the African Americans or the
Right.
black people that were with Cortez were carrying that with
Yes.
them.
So then how come we're not sharing that stuff?
That's a good question. I never gave it too much thought. I'm gonna say this. I feel like because in the way they're portrayed in the literature, they're portrayed as victims.
Right.
That's what I would. And they're very. It's very limited how much they're talked about. Like Hernan Cortez takes over 90% of the whole story. It's just glimpse of these black.
Do you want to know
Go
do you
ahead.
want to know what's so interesting about that? Because like you read stories, I read stories. I always read history, man. Hernan Cortez but a guy named Estebancito, you know what I'm saying? So-called Negro. And he traveled with him all across America, California, Nevada, all that shit. Do you know why they killed him?
No,
Because
please.
he was sleeping around with the women. He was an African. So we see, I'm sorry, man, but I'm trying to get my heritage back to my people. To imagine being at the moment and not really knowing, but seeing what's going on. And then nobody explains it to you. So this is why it's so important for us to understand. Like, look, for example, like right here, another first attributed to an African in Mexico was the bringing of smallpox to the mainland. Francisco de Guya, one of the black slaves on the Narvaez expedition in 1520,
1520.
allegedly died of the disease soon after landing in Mexico coast. Now, I have another book that says that was the decimation of Mexico, bro. Like the Mexicans, like it literally says like the Mexicans had no clue what the fuck that shit was, bro, and that one African decimated you guys. So once again, why didn't they teach us these things? So it goes back to that thought. Oh, like the book that we're saying. Why are they hiding so much information from us?
You make a good point, and I'm gonna honor that because it's obviously it's very educated statement you're making. I'm gonna say this. My point of view, the destruction of civilization was due to all the betrayal of the native tribes against the Aztecs, and the cherry on the top was the smallpox. That's how I've come to conclude that statement. It's not being taught because it's such a small part, and everyone's focused on Hernan Cortez and the 500 Spaniards. That's like those are like the main characters of the
Right.
story. Point of view.
Yeah, I can agree with it. Do
Yeah,
you
we-
feel,
we think
let me
about-
ask you, do you feel that we are at fault for that shit to happen?
Yes, I read the book. It's called the codexes, the Aslan codexes, and it has the 3 original codexes. I read all of them, and it clearly states how when Hernan Cortez moves into Tenochtitlan with the tribes, other neighboring tribes came to Guatemala, offered him, here, we'll help you out. Cuauhtemoc gave him weapons and armor to fight. They turned on him, and they started killing his warriors. So when you have a divided Anahuac civilization uniting with the 500 Europeans, the
Yeah.
smallpox is the cherry on the top, man. To
Yeah,
complete,
yeah. Actually, I think the smallpox was the beginning of it, and that's where you like really weaken our people, because that's what really did the damage. It wasn't so much that we were afraid. It was
Oh, no.
more of the fact that the disease and the surprise. So let me show you something real quick. Let me know if you agree to this. because, and again, man, again, we need to bring this together to each one of us, and I would have preferred to, you continue with your live on your shit. But since we're here, me and, me being me and shit, because, I always like to show this stuff. So you ever heard of this guy real quick? Let me see. Let me show you. Hold on. Let me show you. Let me show you this real quick. Do you know who this guy is? You ever heard of him? His name is The View of the Hebrews. Ethan Hawke?
Never.
Never. Okay. So you know how you have an outlook on situations of what exactly occurred with our people. Well, these are like him and James Adair and many other writers were constantly saying that we expressed a certain way of being, that we come from a certain type of practice, and he wasn't basing it off of his assumptions of how we looked. That's not something he cared about. It was all about what we did, the costumbres that we followed, ways that we carried ourselves. So I'll give an example here. On page 85. And again, man, these are opinions, because again, we're just kind of sitting here on opinions, and I think our gente should know the opinions of what other people saw of us before they changed their mind. Because once they found out that who we were, then maybe there wasn't really a benefit to them. Like, that's why I said earlier, why would they keep even a simple Bible away from us? Like, I mean, are we that important? Are we that dangerous? Right? Like, seriously, if I don't understand the Bible, why would I be that dangerous? We shouldn't be that dangerous. So in page 85, it talks about this right here. The Native Americans have one origin. Their language has a variety of dialects, but all believed by some good judges to be the same in radical language. Various noted authors agree in this. Then he says, the Algonquinians on the Horan language, which he says are as really the same as the French or whatever. He says, hold on a second, let me read right here. Whosoever should understand both of these might travel without an interpreter more often than 1,500. Hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry, my bad, bro. My bad. That's going to confuse you guys, and it's going to be long-winded reading and shit. Here it goes right here. Here it goes right here. Page 89. So look over here. So it says here, but the construction of phrases in both have been the same. The pronouns as well as their nouns, Dr. Edwards remarks, as manifestly from the Hebrew. Mr. Adair, who was a historian who walked around with the natives here, our people, he says, Mr. Adair is confident of the fact that their language is Hebrew. That everything about our customs basically expressed that understanding. And their laconic, bold, and commanding figures of speech, he notes as exactly agreeing with the genius of the Hebrew language. He says that after living 40 years among them, he obtained such knowledge of the Hebrew idiom of their language that he viewed the event of their having more than 2 millenniaries and without the aid of literature preserve their Hebrew language so pure to be but little short of miracles. Now, let me say this real quick. I have another book that talks about the Mexicans were doing Levitical practices. They were keeping certain commandments. I'm not saying that we are Christians. I'm not saying that. But when you find this stuff here and you have people saying that we're such a rich history, and you have Christians saying we shouldn't even read the Bible, like have no idea of who we are, you, like a sane man, what conclusion should we come up with?
You're asking me a question, or
Yeah. It's a heavy question, bro, because I read a lot of shit, but it's like we're looking at history here.
so I
These
have
guys,
read.
we sound like those people,
I have read. How they're comparing, especially the Mexica, to the Hebrew, the one of the lost tribes of Israel.
right?
Um, but I only read that in European interpretations. When it comes to the indigenous interpretation, that does not exist. The one thing that I have read, and this is going to seem completely off, is that a lot of, especially the Mayans, are descendants of the lost city of Atlantis. And I know how that sounds, but according to the literature, based on how accurate they were able to foretell the solar system and all, everything with the universe, how they were able to create all these tocalis, which are, that's not what they're for pyramids, that they come from an advanced ancient civilization. The Hebrews were not that. If we look at the Old Testament, they were roaming for a long time, looking for the promised land. So you have two versions to it. I feel like at this point in history, they're both right. It's just a matter of what do you want to run with? Because you make good points, but then you have the
Well,
indigenous
take it.
people who don't say any of that.
Um, I had the opportunity within myself to deny this bullshit. Like I really came into this with like, fuck this shit. We ain't Israelites. I was like, no, fuck no. We ain't Israelites. I don't give a fuck. Somos mexicanos, güey. But the more I dug, the more I searched, the more I was like, how can I say, put in check. I really did not ever care for this shit, man. I was a typical, I don't know, good dude that just noticed that I was fucking up, I just wasn't respectful to my family. I was just a messed up kid. And this is what exactly we're talking about here, because I think that exactly this is what we're trying to find too ourselves. Cómo ser mejores personas como nosotros, Porque ¿quién más nos va a tratar bien, güey? Si nos estamos tratando mal nosotros, ¿quién más nos va a tratar bien?
Here, let me
Go
because I
ahead, go ahead.
noticed that Chris from Arizona, the homeboy Chris, made a good point, and I want to elaborate that with religion. He's talking about how the Mexica were looking for the promised land too. Yes, because when we talk about the Mexica, we have to take it all the way back to Aslan. When they were in Aslan, they were called Aztecs, which means people of the time. When Huitzilopochtli came to one of the leaders and told him, "Hey, we're gonna go look for the promised land," they went on that journey. So when they were on that journey, they asked themselves, "So what do we call ourselves now?" Well, we're following the sun, and his name is Meshi. So now we're gonna call ourselves Mexica because we are children of the sun. So on their journey, the Huitzilopochtli is the equivalent of Jesus. The son is the equivalent of the father. When they find the eagle on top of the cactus, is the equivalent of the Holy Spirit. You have the divine Trinity. And if you go back to La Madre Tonatzi, how did she become impregnated? Through a feather that fell from the sky. She put it in her womb, and Huitzilopochtli was inside of her. Same concept as the Virgin Mary through the Holy Spirit. Do you see how there's connections there? So
Yeah.
your theory with the whole Hebrew, I can heavily understand why there's a lot of connections. Or is it that the same story has been the same throughout different generations, just in a different manner?
Well, I mean, yeah, you could say that stuff, but we have shown that the language is very similar. The pronunciation, even in the so-called Hebrew language. Uh, the what is this book called? The hold on, let me see. Maybe I go. The Nexus spoken language, the link between Mayas and Semitic during the pre-Columbian time. It actually talks about how the word Jacob or Jacob was pronounced by the same people that were here. And even in the Bible, in their translation, it even says it just like that. I'll give you another example. The Israelites were the only ones that were allowed to eat grasshoppers. Who eats grasshoppers in this entire world?
I wouldn't know. Enlighten me.
Grasshopper, bro? What do you mean? You don't know Oaxaca, Tijuana? They would sell grasshoppers all day. I live right by Tijuana, bro. They they sell.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
vienen
that.
chapulines
I
todo el
never seen
tiempo.
that. I never seen
Here,
that.
check it out. No, no, no.
Oh
You know
man.
what? That's good though. That's good. No, 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 no. It's okay, bro. Hey, man, listen. That's not to be offended by. Fuck no, bro.
Oh no, not at all.
No,
Not at
no.
all.
I like
Enlighten me, man.
the fact that you fucking smile, bro. Because it's like, wait, what do you mean? I didn't know that. Yeah, fuck yeah. The Bible says
Yeah.
that the Israelites are only supposed to eat certain foods, and one of the foods that they were supposed to eat, at least when you're starving, Marvin, or at least you know what I'm saying, like and you got nothing else. Hold on a second. Where is it at? Leviticus 11:18. Okay, here it goes right here. So in Leviticus 11 and 1. And again, this is why I always say, like, why did they keep these books from us? Like, let's put it this way: if they had no fear of us, why did they not let us read the Bible? Like, let's be honest, bro. Like, if you're not fearful of me, why won't you let me read what you know? Like, for example, if I was fearful of you, I would have not taught you what I showed you, right? Like, go on here, do this, do that. Because that's the way mentality works. When people are jealous of you, they don't help you, right? So listen to this right here. So clean and unclean animals. Let's go to verse 20. Here it goes right here. Verse 11 and 21. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that go up upon all fours, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. So let me summarize this because it's confusing. Here you go. Hold on a second. So except those that hop, this is very simple. You may eat the locust, the cricket, and the grasshopper. In case you don't know this, this is the only food, and there's no other country, no other people, no other gente that eats grasshoppers like we do. Eating grasshoppers. Well, not that guy. Hold on a second. This is funny. There it goes right there. All right, so check it out. What did he call it? Chapulines. No, no, no. I'm not. I'm serious, bro. But think about it for a second. Look, the Israelites were only supposed to eat certain insects, and one thing they were only supposed to eat was what? Grasshoppers. Now, that's just one example. Now, I'm not saying, oh shit, that makes us Israelites. No, 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 no. See, what I have showed in my channel is in this Bible, it talks about grasshoppers, it talks about masa, it talks about tamales, it talks about huipiles, fringes, it talks about sandals, it talks about us eating tamarindo, it talks about us using molcajetes. Before I go into anything other stuff, so when you look at this book that they try to keep from us, it's kind of hard to. It's kind of hard, bro. I'm not saying like we're these people. I'm not saying that, but I mean, shit, man. Who else is eating grasshoppers in the world?
So you're strong on the concept that the Mexica are one of the lost tribes of Israel?
I believe from what I found, and you know what, this is just our first time talking. I could show you a lot of material, endless material that can prove my point. I'm not trying to convince you today. Remember, we just came on your live. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to give your life back to you. Remember that? I told you, like, just put your life back with you. So I don't want to influence the people that follow you or anything like that. But I do believe we are those people, man. Because till this very day, it hasn't stopped. Since 1492, it has not stopped.
Well, I'll say this because at this point, to even argue, it wouldn't be as smart because I can see where you're coming from. I definitely can see where you're coming from. I have a different perspective as to why they kept the Bible away from our people, but I can definitely understand where you're coming from. So I think you're right. I think both sides of the coin are right.
Right, right. And you know what, bro? I want to hear your point of view as to why they kept the Bible from us. Let me hear it. Because you know what? I've never heard anybody else's perspective. And let me just say this. I came into this understanding not with my own perspective. I was not religious, bro. Like, te lo juro, hermano. Ay, no me importaba esa madre, güey. Like, fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a lot of other problems to deal with.
So,
Pero algo me habló, güey. Algo me dijo. No, escúchame, César. That's my street name. Escúchame, César. So listen to me. And I listen. And then I'm here today. So I would love to hear your opinion on what you think Christians did in order for us not to understand the word.
okay, so I'm gonna go back all the way to the Olmecas.
Let's do it.
The Olmecas is older than Christianity. So they're out of that equation. Then you have Tolteca. You have the civilization of the Toltecas. That's still older than Christianity. That's out of the equation. Then you have the Mexica era now. Where did the Mexica come from? Now there's two sides to the story. Some claim that they came from, in San Diego. They claim that Aslan, north of America, and they immigrated south. But
Yep.
then in the codexes, they immigrated from Culiacan, from the south of Mexico. They immigrated north. So they were already in Mexico and what they call the seven caves. That creates what you would call a conflict of interest when it comes to Hebrews and then what the codexes are saying.
Understood.
So that's just based. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I'm gonna run with your
No,
narrative.
no. Listen, you do your thing, bro. I understand what you're saying. I'm very historical. I understand. Don't even worry about it. Like,
So we're gonna run it to the example I'm gonna use is La Virgen de Guadalupe. In that same hill, El Cerro del Tepeyac, who were the Nahuas worshiping at that time?
oh no. I'm sorry. I'm listening to you, brother. I'm just being quiet.
I'm asking you, who were they worshiping in El Cerro del Tepeyac?
I think they were Teperitzin or some shit, some type of goddess or some shit.
It was the Aztec mother goddess Tonantzin. So so the Nahuas are
So
worshiping.
let me ask you a question. Do you understand why they were doing that?
They were doing what?
Worshiping her, at least wishing for her, right?
Why they were worshiping her?
Well, at least I'm not worshiping her. From what I read, they were, I guess, submitting to the history of their detriment, like something to do with her, like she had sung the words about destruction to the Mexicas, and that's why they were worshiping.
Oh, interesting. You would have to send me that material so I could read it.
No,
I
I'm gonna
haven't.
show you. I'm gonna show you after what you're saying, because I actually have it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm more than. I'll read it and I'll give you my perfect opinion on it. Um, so they were worshiping La Madre Tonantzin and that here in El Tepeyac. Well, what a coincidence that the Holy Mother Mary appeared in the same spot. If we look at that, it's all for control. Why do you want to control these people? So that you can enslave them and you can live a very wealthy life at their expense. You keep the Bible away from them. You teach them that there's a higher power, and you teach them that other deities, which are not demons, and we're taught they're demons. Excuse me, you're not supposed to worship that. You follow our doctrine, but you can't read it because you're not worthy of it. It's a form of control to make yourself seem superior. And I'll use this example. I read the book where they burn books, they burn people. I'm pretty sure you're aware of it.
Oh yeah.
So in that book, the Mayans, it was the same story. They were not allowed to come near the Bibles. Why? Because everything was about ego and control. You teach these people to be scared of a God-fearing deity and let go of your gods, or else you're going to burn in hell. So it was all about control. And at their expense, they were taking down the Tocalis and building churches. And at the same time, they were killing off the Mayans. So my interpretation would be it's all control at the expense and ignorance of these people. And that is the reason why they burned a lot of the Amoshlis, which are books in Nahuatl. They burned a lot of the books. They killed a lot of the teachers because they don't want these teachers to educate their civilization. So if you take away their knowledge, you keep them ignorant. If you keep them ignorant, you can control them. That would be the other side of the coin.
Let me show you this real quick. This is from the book called La Llorona, A Spirit Unable to Rest. On page, I believe it's page 15, 16, it says, "It is no coincidence that the Llorona is a central, pivotal, and seminal to a catastrophic time in the history of American continent. While Cihuacoatl, the early Llorona, was already crying for her children that would be decimated." You see this? While Cihuacot, well, hold on, let me read it right. Cihuacot, the early Llorona, was already crying for her children that would be decimated, invaded, and colonized up to our present time, in spite of the revolution and days of independence to come. The footprint and iron hand of the sword and the cross were already being planned at the Vatican in Rome. So what it's saying is that Mexicas had an idea. So that Llorona concept, by the way, let me show you what that means, bro, in case you don't know. Because, a lot of people don't really know the Bible, and this is why it's important for us to understand this stuff. So in 2nd Ezra chapter 10, it talks about how there's a weeping woman, a woman that's crying for her children. And this guy here, in this whole chapter, he's like, "Why are you crying for that fucking child of yours? All of us have died. Like, a lot of people have died. Why are you still here crying for her?" Right? And as you read in this chapter, and as it keeps going forward, this is what it says right here. It says, 2nd Ezra 10:38, "He answered me and said, Hear me, and I shall inform thee, and tell thee before thou art afraid." So he's talking about, he's the guy's asking the angel, "What the hell did I just see? For the highest will reveal many secrets unto thee." He said, "He had seen that thy ways, right? For thou that sorrow continually for thy people. Basically saying, I trust you, man. You have a very sorrow contrite heart. Like you're not trying to be abusive or learning knowledge because you want to take advantage of people. Like I'm going to give you the secrets, right? That's what he's saying. This therefore is the meaning of the vision which thou lately sawest. He says, thou sawest the woman mourning. Thou beginnest to comfort her. But now seest thou the likeness of the woman no more. But there appeared unto thee a city builded. And whereas she told thee the death of her son, this is the solution. This woman whom thou sawest is Zion. So this whole chapter is talking about a woman that supposedly lost her child, right? But technically, it's saying like, yo, listen, man, this is the weeping woman, the weeping seed, the weeping woman that we read about right here. She says, it is no coincidence that the Llorona in a central, pivotal, and seminal to catastrophic time in the history of American continent, while Sihuaocat, let me say it right. Sihuacoat, the early Llorona, was already crying for her children that would be decimated, invaded, and colonized up to our present time in spite of the revolution. So this is why I showed stuff and I tell my gente, like we're in this shit, not just because we have like physical examples, like we have folklore in this stuff. I mean, who else expresses that this way like we do? I mean, how else am I supposed to think, bro? I mean, I'm human just like you know what I'm saying? I gotta go somewhere. I believe in something, right?
Of course. That story with the Llorona, I read in another piece of literature that it stems when Tenochtitlan was falling and she saw her kids drowning and dying in the lake. And that's one version where it stems from also. So there's a lot of correlation there.
Yeah, there's
Deep that.
yeah. Yeah, no. I don't want to cut you off here. Let me put it up real quick. It's the book is called La Llorona, a spirit unable to rest. And there is in this book, it does give you a couple of different examples of what they think La Llorona is. But what I find so interesting is how similar it is to the story in that book. The same book that they continually try to keep away from us. Because even Christians say it themselves. Like WASP, Anglo White Saxon Protestants say this. We don't like Catholics because they usually bring brown people, and brown people always think that they need to be poor. And, white Protestants believe that, in order for you to be the chosen, you have to be prosperous. Imagine that.
The thing, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
with the whole Catholicism and Christianity concept, and I've studied things from Mormonism. I read the Quran, Jehovah's Witnesses. I've spent time with Christians. I grew up Catholic, hardcore Catholic. And I can safely say this from my experience: the Protestant community is a false doctrine, and I'm going to say this with all certainty. They're completely divided. You put 10 Protestants in a room, they're all going to fight with each other on what's the truth. Protestantism is simply someone's opinion, and they start a whole dogma off of it. That's all it is. I initially, when I came into this, I thought they had a foundation. I thought they had an organization. And when I got together with them and realized how much they were fighting amongst each other, that's when I knew this was a false doctrine. And that's as far as Protestants, and they have no structure. They all do whatever they want. As far as religion goes, that's my take on it.
Here's what I noticed about our indigenous bloodline, bro. Because you have people like me that are very hardcore and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? But you have people like you that are calm, that embrace it, listen to it, because we need that kind of balance, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you an example, man. That doesn't everything that I say doesn't mean that it's all correct. I'm not saying that. I'm not 100%.
Here, give me a second. I'm gonna need. I need to plug in my device because
Go
it's
ahead, go
dying
ahead.
on me.
You
Just
good.
give me a second.
I'm not saying it's 100%. All I'm saying is this, man. We need to figure out who the hell we are. And sometimes you have people like me that are going to push you to the limits. And then you have other people like Kim that's going to be like, yo, bro, have the balance and shit. I mean, who else is this right here? Who else is this right here? Fopi can't take that shit away from us. What are you going to do? Start eating fucking grasshoppers now all of a sudden, bro? Sorry, man. I was getting motivated and shit. I was like, bro, yeah, I can't convince us with belief. Oh, by the way, so I said, oh, let me tell you something. You ever heard of wobbles? You never heard of wobbles? That terminology of wobbles? Okay, so what
No,
that means is that there's African American people claiming that they're the indigenous people of the earth. That we were brought from another fucking place and shit. And we're not even the fucking Aztecs or Mayas or anybody of that. You never heard of that shit?
I've heard of them claiming to be like mines, and that's not even academia accurate. It's
Well,
not accurate. I looked into that. I don't
then
subscribe
you
to
have the floor, bro. Prove us why that you don't subscribe to that.
Well, for one, the strongest one is the DNA testing. Does not correlate not one bit. That in itself discredits their whole argument that they're Mayan and things of that nature. I do believe that they do have, maybe they were indigenous prior to the migration from, when they were taken from Africa, maybe in their time. As far as the other literature I've read, I haven't read anything about them being here prior to the Europeans, um, unless that's being kept from us. Do they have some similarity? Sure, I'll agree, but not to the extent where we're Mayans. And there's been other studies where people, real Mayans, their DNA test does match 100%. So that in itself, I feel like that discredits the argument.
Yeah, and it should. It should. You were saying that you probably heard some people, mentioning some stuff like that. There is a where is it at? Right here. They always use what here, I'll show you the script, the picture. Hold on. 1 second, I'll show the picture. Where the hell is the picture? Okay, here it goes. Okay, so they show this picture right here. This is Diodorus Siculus. A lot of times they want to say that they've been here way before and that we were somehow like not belonging here. But you know what? This right here, this guy, I mean, they actually reference him a lot. So I'm going to use him. I'm going to use him. And I'm going to show you exactly what he says. So our people can know exactly, like, we need to know these things. Like, our gente don't really read a lot, bro. Like, I understand that shit. But, some of us do. So let's go to 5.19 right here. So check this out, brother. when black folks want to say that supposedly they came here and they conquered and they civilized, and then the white man came. No, that's bullshit. Total bullshit. This is on Diodorus Siculus in 5.19.1. But now that we have discussed what relates to the islands which lie within the Pillars of Hercules, that means between Spain and Portugal. Portugal and Africa. They're like a 50-mile skip and a hop. They're not that far from each other, bro. Okay? And that relates to a lot of other historical connections that they claim to say that they went through, but they didn't really go through. So this is like a total connection of history. It says, but now that we have discussed what relates to the islands which lie within the Pillars of Hercules, we shall give an account of those which are in the ocean. For there lies in the deep of Libya an island of considerable size, situated as is in the ocean, as is distant from Libya, a voyage of number of days to the west, right? It is a land. Its land is fruitful. Much of it being mountainous, and not a little of level plain surpassing beauty. Through it flows navigable rivers. Now, pause for a second. What are navigable rivers? That means structure. I mean, there's structures here, which are used for irrigation. You see what I'm saying? Now, does that sound like they just went to a land that nobody was there? Fuck no. And the island contains many parks planted with trees of every variety and garden of great multitude. So what are you saying? Right? It's inhabited. Hold on a second, brother. Here, please tell the people. What is it saying? What is it saying, bro? Hold on a second. I want to give you the flow. What is it saying? Exactly. Right? It was inhabited. And the island contains many parks with plant trees of variety and gardens in great multitudes, which are traversed by streams of sweet water. What does that sound like, bro?
It sounds like they found what the Olmecas had started, which was agriculture.
They found Tenochtitlan.
That
Tlan.
too, yeah.
People that understood science, mathematics, agriculture, society, government, and rulership. That's what that means. On it also private villas of costly construction. I'm sorry, man, but who the fuck can build this stuff to this very day? White people? Negroes? No. You guys can't do that. And throughout the gardens, banqueting houses have been constructed in a setting of flowers. What is that, my brother?
Disclaimer. This content does not belong to Bible Chronicles or claim this.
I want to play that. What is that? What is that, my brother?
Well, when you read that, the first thing that comes to mind is, if I'm not mistaken, is the eagle on the cactus. Correct?
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. Let's just put it this way. I mean, you can picture that too, but what I'm saying is this. This isn't, this guy's in 1660 BC. He's saying this in 60 BC. He's saying this, that he saw islands contain many parks with trees of variety and gardens with great multitudes, which are traversed by the streams of sweet water. On it also private villas of costly construction, and throughout the gardens banqueting houses have been constructed in a settling flower. I mean, they're floating on water, right? Right. Yes. And then the inhabitants pass their time during the summer, since the land supplies abundance everything which contribute to the enjoyment of luxury. Okay, so we see here a let me get this. Let me get this shit because you know what? Check this out. You see this right here? This right here is from a book that a Negro wrote. And here's how they say that they're supposedly the original people. Okay? This is why I showed you the origin of the word. Because they only wrote the 2.5 paragraphs down below. They ignored what we just read. But this is what they said. The Jew Negro. Did the Negro know America? Theodore Siculus told us that the Phoenicians in early times sailed beyond Hercules' pillars along the African coast. And their meeting with storms and tempests were carried to the remotest port of the ocean. And after many days, to a vast island, a great distance from Libya, lying very far from the west, the Phoenicians informed the Carthaginians of this place, and the Carthaginians prohibited other nations from settling in it, they reserving it for themselves as a place of retirement if they should ever be driven from their own native soil. I always find it that you Negroes always say Phoenicians, but you don't accept the fact that you're Canaanites. So now we read that stuff, right? So guess where they got it from, bro? Guess where they got it from? You know, we just read this right here, right? About the fact that they saw people here, right? Traversed through like lands and, luxury and villas and all that. So they went this far. Right here. They didn't express to you the 5.191. No. They just told you, like typical fucking hater Canaanites. The Phoenicians then, while exploring the coastal pillars, for the reason we have stated, and while sailing along the shores of Libya, were driven by storms, winds, great distance out into the ocean, and being storm tossed for many days, they were carried ashore on the islands we mentioned above. Here, see what I'm saying? Right there, we mentioned above, but there's people there. Hold on a second. Let me go back. Oh, wait. We mentioned above. Where were you at, fool? I'm so confused. Okay. That we mentioned above. Hold on a second. Let me go back. The Phoenicians were then, while exploring the coastal pillars for the reason we started, and while sailing along the coast of Libya, were driven by strong winds a great distance onto the ocean. And after being storm tossed for many days, they were carried ashore on the islands we mentioned above. And when they had observed its facility and the nature, they caused it to be known unto the men. So see this? So they were paying attention to the people that were there. They observed its facility and nature, and they caused it to be known unto all men. So we know that you guys knew that we were here. Yes, you sailed all around. We're not scared of that shit. Consequently, the Tyrrhenians at the time when they were masters of the sea purposed to dispatch a colony to it. Hold on a second. But the Carthaginians prevented their doing so, partly out of the concern lest many inhabitants of Carthage should remove there because of the excellence of the island, and partly in order to have ready a place in which to seek refuge against incalculable turn of fortune in case some total disaster should overtake Carthage. That's 1492. Now I know maybe this is history that you probably haven't heard, brother, and I'm not trying to influence you on that thought process, but I mean, this is heavy duty, bro. Because they always tell us that that's not true.
Well, I can respect the whole narrative, and yeah, no, I don't fall for the concept that they were here before, everybody else. No, not one bit. No, there's people here, and you know, if they did migrate as as this text is claiming, then they obviously encountered a civilization.
Yep. No, but it's all good, man. I just wanted to show you some stuff in case you I don't know, man. I think it's important for us to understand exactly where we stand. Like I said, all of us have a different angle to this truth, but I think that every single one of us has power to bring this truth together. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to say that you got to believe in my shit.
Oh no, it's not even about that,
can
man.
do
It's,
that. We
it's
can do that.
obviously, you can take concepts like this, and there's nothing wrong with what you said, man. Honestly, it's backed up. I don't know how credible that stuff is, the material, but nonetheless, if this is something you strongly believe in, go for it, man. At this point, remember, it's been 500 years. A lot of
Yep.
the stuff that we've learned, we don't we can't prove that it's true, but we choose not to believe. And the same thing can said about the Bible. Same thing can said about a lot of religious books. It's up to us to decide what truth is to us, since it's been such a long time. But one thing that I have found is that I'm leaning heavily towards the indigenous version of the Anahuac history, the Mexican history. Because obviously the Spanish are going to write things to favor them, to make him look good, and to keep our mestizo and indigenous people in a state of oppression,
So
mental
let me say
oppression.
this real quick. Um, I don't ever want to take that away from my gente because you want to know something. The way that you say Nahuatl is the way that you say the word of God, Yahweh. Nahua, Yahweh. It's the same exact way. The only difference is in Nahuatl, you put a TL or a LT at the end. That's it. So I find it very interesting, man.
I can
It's
believe
all
it.
yeah, it's all coming together, man. Slowly and surely. Like nobody should be forced into assuming something that they like. I always tell people, like, man, I don't know shit 100%, bro. Like you got to check it yourself.
Let me add something to your thesis here. Is that what is when we read Genesis, in the book of Genesis, it talks about God in the beginning. God created this. What is the original name in Hebrew of the word God? Do you know what that is? Hello?
Hold on. Are you asking me or are you telling me?
No, I'm asking you. What is the original name of God in Hebrew?
My understanding of what it is Yahweh. Like, for example, when you breathe in, Yah, like you breathe in, you breathe out.
Okay.
That's the best way that I could put it in a very neutral way, bro. Because I could be religious, be like, yeah, you gotta say it like Yahweh and da da da. No. Very simple.
No. So in Genesis, in the beginning,
There you go.
the word God is Elohim. Now, Elohim is a plural verb meaning duality, both masculine and feminine. Hold that thought. In our ancient Anahuac civilization, they had a deity called Ometeotl, who is the god of duality, both masculine and feminine. What a coincidence. Our ancient ancestors believed the same concept that the original word of God, which is Elohim, carries, which is duality, both masculine and feminine. And this is why in the book of Genesis it says God made them both male and female according to his likeness, because God
Right.
is both masculine and feminine.
Yes, I understand that.
So the whole Ometeotl, our ancestors already had that concept. And this is pre-Christian. Ometeotl, both being masculine and feminine, and the four cardinal points represent los cuatro puntos cardinales, represent the four children that they had. And obviously in Christianity, it represents the four archangels.
Right. That's why the initial verse talks about that the man and the woman shall be as one.
Yeah,
You can't have a relation. That's why the Bible talks about having a family. That's why it says, love him and your brethren, meaning like my wife is my brethren. My kids are my brethren. Like everything about me is my brethren. If I can't see myself within them, then that's a problem. Go ahead.
No, and that's a good way of seeing it. Obviously, the woman becomes the missing part, which is Adam's rib.
Right.
It makes him whole again, but it also teaches you that a man should always remain. So I'll give it to you like this: in the beginning, when God created Adam, and then he created Adam, um, he created Eve as a companion. Now, why was Adam and Eve cast out of the garden? I'm asking you, why was Adam and Eve cast out?
Um, Technically, it wasn't like that. But you know what? For the sake of what you're trying to show, it's probably not a good idea to ask me what it means because I have a scriptural perspective on it. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna go against what you're trying to show. So do me a favor, just explain to us what you mean. I'm not gonna attack you, brother. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we're here for. I'll give you the floor. Explain yourself, and you know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
Well, it's because you're talking about how we become one flesh, and love your brethren, and how your wife is your brethren. The point
Yeah,
I
but hold on. But you're going into Genesis, and me, I know Genesis like pretty deep. And if we sit here and break down Genesis, we're not going to get through this portion right now that you're trying to say. I'll say it like that.
well, it was part of it to prove the point that you're trying to make, but without it, I can't prove my point.
Okay, so what are you asking me?
Well, you made a statement about how we're supposed to love our brethren, and that your wife is your brethren, and you become one flesh, right?
Well, I'm not okay. So let me rephrase it. I was trying to run it really quick. My wife is not my brethren. My wife is my wife. Um, I believe that there is such a thing as regeneration, and we all have a coming back again to understand exactly what's going on. So that has nothing to do with my wife. It has more to do with my children because my wife is not my seed. You know what I'm saying? Like it has nothing to do with her.
Okay, so then that changes everything because from how you mentioned that you said my wife is my brother and everybody's my brethren. That's how I
Yeah,
interpret.
no,
But if
I
that's
wasn't.
not
I wasn't
the case, then
necessarily like brushing it like Christianity. My bad.
okay, then in that case, no, I don't have a point to prove. I don't have anything.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I mean, at this point, man, I really think that what we need to do, honestly, brother, is really like like show the example of brothers like you that are trying to go out there and show us some history about who we are without even trying to fight back, man, because you guess how long we've been fighting with each other. How long have these people been separating us to keep us away? Like, how long did they keep the Bible in order for us to understand each other? Not separate the Bible. Like, I'm not saying the Bible stuff. What I'm saying is like, if they really, if they really use the book to like, I mean, shit, man. Like, it's kind of hard for me to understand. If they use that fucking Bible to keep us away from each other, like, what the fuck else are they doing?
Well, you understand that in that era, things was very different. I dare to say this just based off the codexes. Our indigenous ancestor tribe, you Mayan, Mixtec, you know, Chichime, whatever you descend from, they were very submissive, extremely submissive. But majority of the indigenous tribes are extremely submissive, and the word was law. So anything any used, they believed it.
That's
Was
true.
one that was one of the main weapons, is that your word was law, and if someone came and told you, hey, you're gonna burn in hell because you're doing this and doing that, if you don't follow my, they used to call
Right.
it el hombre en el madero, meaning
So,
Christ.
Hey, so
So-
remember how I read initially in the video how Lutheran newsletter implemented that thought process to our gente? Because most of our gente is Catholic,
Yes.
right? Right. So let me
Right.
show you a video so you can see, because I think this is great. I think this is great. Perfect time. And I wasn't even gonna bring it up, but you know what, dude? This fucking praises bitch remind me of shit. So I'm going to bring it up. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Hold on, let me get this. She had said that the reason why white Anglo-Saxons are better than us is because, Christians. Check it out. Shut up. Look at this racist shit right here, bro. And it's so amazing that they don't even realize that they're fucking being so racist, bro. It's just so amazing, right? It's just so fucking amazing to me. Like, they don't even realize that in the shit that they're saying, they're being racist. So check this out. What she says right here in these little moments. What do you think about that?
This I couldn't hear anything. I was waiting for like a delay audio, but
My bad. Let me play it. Let me hold on. Let me play it real quick. My bad, bro. Now, I think it's important that brothers understand how you feel, because you want to know something, bro. You're going to be a powerful voice in here. You may not know it, but you are.
In Catholic countries, not so much this country, because American Catholics have basically become Protestants. And that is this worship of being poor, as if you are closer to God because you're poor. That's not the way to create a on-the-go developing country.
What do you think?
Well, like I said, I like to view things from two sides of the coin. I'll give you the good stuff. She has a point. Our people have been taught to be poor and submissive. That wanting to be wealthy, want better things in life is a sin. Now, on the contrary, focusing too much on the materialistic keeps you away from God. So I feel like there has to be a medium mode where you can balance both.
Okay.
No, I
Let me give you a little bit more deeper understanding on this. Listen to this real quick.
in Catholic countries, not so much this country, because American Catholic
Countries. Remember what I read earlier to you regarding the Lutheran newsletter?
Yes.
What did they do to us?
Kept information.
Right. You see how she's talking?
Yep.
Catholics have basically become Protestants.
No, she's saying that Catholics are usually poor because of their mentality.
Yes.
But we see Catholics limit us to understand anything to their benefit, right? So remember, this is a Protestant person arguing about keeping illegals out of here. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So then now this is why it's important for us smart motherfuckers to start raising our bar. So listen to this, Ruka.
And that is this worship of being poor, as if you are closer to God because you're
Worship to be poor. Have you ever worshipped to be poor?
No, but we have been taught that the love of money is the root of all evil.
Right. Who taught us that? Who taught us that? Who taught us that?
The people running Catholicism.
Christianity, bro. Catholicism, right? Okay, let's continue.
poor. That's not the way to create a like on the go developing country.
Mm-hmm. No,
So she says, that's not the way to on the go to develop countries. So as she's saying that the people that taught us Christianity kept us on a low level, she's also saying like, wait, that's not the way that people progress. What she means is like, this is why we don't want you Mexicans, because you don't assimilate.
That's right. That's right.
Read between the words. So this is why. Look, and I'll continue. Look at her smile, and then let me know if I'm wrong.
I think that that's an interesting tour through that historical lane. But I want to pick on one point you said, which is citizenship. Right? Let's talk about what does it mean to be a citizen.
Then she's all like fucking nodding her head like she's a dude. I think she's a dude, and this guy is just a sellout. Whatever. But she's like, yeah, I'll tell you more racist shit. You know what I'm saying?
Of a nation. And it's interesting, if a lot of people trip up on this, they'll say, well, it means what you get, right? Do I get to vote or do I get some other claim? And that doesn't really work. Actually, if you look through most of American history, for example, women were citizens long before women could vote, right?
By the way, me bring up my own opinion. The way that he says citizens, it's because he has an accent. And he works so hard to hide it that he just pronounces it when he says citizens. Just my opinion. Let's continue.
And so it's not about what you get. In my book, and I think that this is true with the American conception of citizenship, I think it's true of the Roman conception of citizenship, is it's about your loyalty, actually.
Yes.
To whom do you actually pledge loyalty? And so I think you and I share that in common, actually. I don't know, I've never asked you this, Dan, but I assume from seeing the things you said, tell me if I'm right about this, you're probably against the existence of dual citizenship as a concept. Is that fair?
That right there. This is where it gets kind of crazy. Dual citizenship. This is the dual citizenship that they don't want to give us. But yet they give Israelis dual citizenship. How's that figure? How's that fair?
It's not.
So let's just continue.
Say?
Yes.
Yes. You and I share that in common.
Outrageous.
It's incoherent. It's not just outrageous. It's incoherent. It's oxymoronic. How could you possibly have a loyalty to two different nations where the essence of citizenship is which nation to whom you had your undivided loyalty? That's what the essence of citizenship is all about. So you and I agree on so much there. But where I wouldn't say lose you, but I may fail to fully understand you, is on that axis of citizenship, what does ethnicity have to do with the matter?
Pay attention to this because this is where she lays down the ground of how you got to be white.
And I think you would be well served, and maybe this could be a great platform for you to do it, to make the case for why that, what you put it, WASP basis for the American identity, how is that relevant against a backdrop of which you got the WASP seventh generation descendant of some rich guy on the Upper East Side in Brooklyn that pretends to hate this country because it's the cool thing to do, versus somebody who came here as the kid of immigrants, but pledges loyalty to this country. If loyalty was the axis for citizenship, aren't you actually committing a bit of a sin, reverting back to a conception of citizenship that has nothing to do with loyalty in the first place?
Pause it right there. Sorry, man. I'll let you speak if you want to say something, my brother. But I think this guy just fucking sold himself out. He said, "Yeah, man, I submit to the white man." You know what I'm saying? Like, I just love the white man and I'm just going to be white. That's what I think he did. I mean, do you want to say something?
Yeah. A lot. And I'll say this respectfully because not all white folk like that. But they're very hypocritical.
Oh, of course.
They come stealing their way. When did they assimilate to the natives? Never. This concept you have to have loyalty to country only. And this is a big rabbit hole, but a lot of the customs they brought from Europe is not assimilating to the native culture here in the Americas. So it's extremely hypocritical. Yes, he is a seller.
So let's continue.
Well, I will say many of those seventh generations WASPs I definitely hate. I know we have a lot of really, really bad ones, but like I said, anyone can adopt this. I guess what I just said, if any of your children marry a DAR, I would definitely vote for them for president. It's not so much, it's more president is different. You have to be natural born, as you know, which, by the way, Ted Cruz is not, basically because of what you were just describing. Where is the loyalty? So ambassadors' children born actually in the United States are not natural born, but that's a total sidebar. I've gotten
It's actually not a sidebar at all. I mean, the fact that ambassadors' kids born in the United States are not citizens is actually an overlooked fact. If a kid of an ambassador from Mexico does not enjoy birthright citizenship, neither does somebody who's in this country illegally.
Yes.
Birthright citizenship either, right? So that's actually a quite important logical chain. But I go back to, forget even because you get to this constitutional, legalistic, and I like that stuff, but we'll just put that to one side for a second. But the essence of American identity, I think there's a part of you that believes.
So let me remind you, no offense to anybody that's listening, what was the first thing that I showed in the class yesterday? They were eating each other. This is why, and by the way, my brother, man, I'm not trying to surprise you on some stuff real quick. Let me get rid of this real quick. I'm not trying to surprise you on some stuff, man, but yesterday I showed a video regarding of like 1606 settler, situation and shit. So when these people first showed up, they didn't want to work. They didn't want to help their own people out. They didn't want to feed their families. They didn't care much about like anything of that stuff. Let me see if I still have the video. Let me see if I still have it.
From the beginning.
Yeah, I do. I still have it. I still have it.
From the beginning, the extension of the United States from sea to shining sea was the intention and design of the country's founders. Free land was the magnet that attracted European settlers.
You're white, the entire country knows this is nonsense. What did he say? And I cannot wait for the day that we win. We will. We're white. We're white.
This particular form of colonialism is called settler colonialism. But as a system, it requires violence. It requires the elimination of the natives and their replacement by European settlers.
that's weird shit, and I don't want to play that because you know what I mean. Like I don't want to hear that stuff. Anyways, listen, brother, I'm showing you this stuff at the same time, so you can see exactly what you can do in this channel. But for the most part, it's more about like what we are tackling. This was an interview from what is it? A year ago. And yet they're still talking like this. People like him, people like her. I don't know, man. I mean, I think that we've come to a situation, my brother, where we're trying to understand why this continues to happen to our people. I mean, I think that's where we're at. And Christianity or other material has not showed us why. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest. Personal experience and what I see is our people do it to themselves. Our people do it to themselves. They allow this. You know, they're too focused on providing that they don't educate themselves. You know, and education is power. The more you know, the more you can speak. The more you know, the more minds you can and have a change. And have a change. You know, but a lot of at least from my experience, you go to work, from my experience, and straight go to work, and straight sábado gigante, la rosa de Guadalupe, que la caguama, chacal, que ya el chacal. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. You offer a book. And it's kind of like putting a demon. It's kind of like putting a demon in front of them. They want nothing to do with it. They want whatever the priest says. It's whatever the priest says. They don't, and that's it. And they don't, and the biggest, when people talk about the return, of Quetzalcoatl, el gran Tuatcánico al Temo prophesies. It's when Mexicans return to the root. And the only way to do that is knowledge. You have to put in the work.
I have a book that talks about that specifically. Barbara Simmons, I think it's called. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get it real quick. 10 tribes. Is that it? You know what, man? I understand what you're saying, bro, and I totally agree with you because for a long time we've been trying to fucking show this shit to our gente. And it almost seems like it kind of goes out the door. And what I notice is that because our people don't like to read. And that doesn't mean that all of us don't like to read. That just means that a good portion of us don't like to read. So then, I mean, if I'm going to be based on a certain portion, then that's not a good thing. But when you look at this situation, let me ask you, how can you explain this talk to our people? This is kind of what I always like to do, bro. I want our gente to understand why they talk this way. So let's listen to what she says and explain to them what she's trying to say.
But pledges loyalty to this country. If loyalty was the access for citizenship, aren't you actually committing a bit of a sin, reverting back to a conception of citizenship that has nothing to do with loyalty in the first place?
Well, I will say many of those seventh generations WASP I definitely hate. I know we have a lot of really, really bad ones, but like I said, anyone can adopt this. I guess what I just said, if any of your children marry a DAR, I would definitely vote for them for president.
Let me show you before you go and conclude your thought process. What is a DAR? DAR. Republican. What does that mean? Don't be stupid. Look it up. Daughters of Revolution. You see what she's saying? She's like, well, if you marry a white woman, you'll be all right. You marry a white woman, you'll be all right. The DAR. It's all about white, crackety, crack, shit, crack. So let me tell you something. What if I said, shit, man, if you marry an alien, you'll be all right. You see what I'm saying, family? You guys don't pay attention to the words that these people fucking say.
It's not so much, it's more, president is different. You have to be natural born, as you know, which, by the way, Ted.
Born. You see this shit? You should be naturally born. Was Donald Trump naturally born? No. Hold on a second. She's going to skip that shit. Let's go.
Cruz is not, basically on because of what you were just describing. Where is the loyalty? So ambassadors' children born actually in the United States are not natural born, but that's a total sidebar. I've gotten
It's actually not a sidebar at all. I mean, the fact that ambassadors' kids born in the United States are not citizens is actually an overlooked fact. If the kid of an ambassador from Mexico does not enjoy birthright citizenship, neither does somebody who's in this country illegally.
Yes.
Birthright citizenship either, right? So that's actually quite important.
You and I that have been listening to this, you see this nonsense, bro. Like, you've been quiet for a while, man. Let me let you speak. Respectfully, man. You're an awesome dude, brother. I really have a lot of respect for you, man. You're very patient, and you're teaching me some shit.
I'll say this, man. It's gonna be up to us. It's gonna be our generation. Our generation to break that curse of that slave mentality. Older generations have of being submissive. You people like you and I. We're not folding. We're learning, and we're not scared to speak our minds. So that's what they're scared of. Not our parents, us. Our grandparents, our grandparents. We're not looking to work. Who's gonna wash the dishes? Who's gonna do the roof? Who's gonna do the roof? We don't care about that. We don't care about that. We're trying to make money, and that's exactly why they don't want us. Because once we get in positions of power, I know as for myself, I'm gonna extend my hand to my fellow Mexicans.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
And that's all it is. And that's the way they talk. The way they talk. Generational. It's generational. From oppressing older heads.
Hey, you want to know something? Hold on a second. You said that shit very strong, man. I'm so glad you said it. Generational confidence. And we've been generationally insecure. You know what I'm saying? That shit is fact. They have generational confidence, and we've been generationally insecure. This is why we need to change this fucking attitude. That's why certain people show up to this channel, and maybe they're upset because of the way we talk. But I think they're mad at the fact that they're like, yo, bro, like, I need these guys to be like, do you need to be weak? You need to be weak. I don't want you to challenge me. I don't want you to be mad at me. I want to press you. Man, you made a good point, bro. Like, But say that again. They were what?
It's
Generational confidence. That's it. Beautiful.
And this is why they feel entitled to speak the way that they do. And that message, if you pay attention, especially to what's going on right now with the immigration crisis, it's not tailored towards us. It's tailored toward these quiet, hardworking immigrants. It's not us. They don't like us either as anchor babies. At least I know I'm an anchor baby. They don't like people like myself because I can speak for myself. You tell me go back to Mexico, I'll tell you go back to Europe. You call me Mexican American, I'll call you European American. So there's definitely resistance from our generation, not from our parents' generation, older head generation.
Remember what they taught us. Remember what they taught us. Oh, no digas nada. Déjale en paz, no te preocupes. Déjalo. No te está molestando. What was that old saying? Hey, ¿qué estás haciendo, cabrón? Pues usted sabe, señor.
Right.
Pues usted sabe, señor.
Yeah, or agacha en la cabeza when you see the white man coming approach you. Agacha en la cabeza, or the common term is mande.
Right.
I remember my parents everywhere they would go.
Mándeme.
It was the name, last name, a sus órdenes. And see, in those customs, from what I've read, were instilled in our people when they used to serve the haciendas for the Spanish.
Hold on a second. There's somebody saying there's echo here. There shouldn't be echo because I closed it up. Go ahead, keep going.
I said the whole mande term, comes from where the mestizos and the indigenous people were field workers working for the haciendas in Mexico for the Spaniards, and in order to show respect, you had to say mande. So our people came with that. And everywhere they came, they came with fear, and they came with a mentality of servitude. I'm here to serve, and just give me enough to provide. And that, with time, created confidence in these older generation Caucasian individuals. But what's happening now is that people like us, we don't care about that. We will stand in your face and we will call you out on your bullshit.
Yeah, you know what? No, man, that's so important, bro, because I remember growing up. And it wasn't even about us fighting against them. It was almost like a spirit in us fighting against our parents, saying, no, don't talk to us like that. Like, don't talk to us like that. Because I remember, I was born in 1976. And I would tell my parents, hey, mom, dad, I love you, but don't talk to me like that. Like, I don't believe that you should just out of nowhere just deserve my respect. What makes you think that I'm just supposed to be submissive to you? Now, guess what? What was that saying to you, brother? We were fighting back. We were fighting back of our own people initially, but it was because the spirit. It was like, bro, man, I don't like this shit.
The colonized became the colonizers, and that's our
Right.
parents colonizing us. But once you break that cycle,
Hold on a second. Let me tackle this boy right here. This guy right here. So this is what happens when you do a live. You have random idiots that show up and want to talk shit. Holy Fool's been here to this channel before. Holy Fool, listen to me, man. Listen to me. You got something to say? Bro, listen, hit the link. We don't hide from you. So this is what you do, bro. So when somebody wants to talk to you, this is what you do. Invite them. People like this guy. Anyways, so sorry, my bad, bro. I didn't want to cut you off, but it's just, I know that you're learning how to use this shit, and this is what you're gonna run into.
what was it that he was arguing?
This guy is I don't even know what he believes in. He shows up to the channel and posts every single time after the channel. I think he believes in snakes. I think.
Is he the comment here at the? He says he holds
Yeah,
himself.
that's him. That's him. Yeah, that's him.
So his argument is towards me or towards you?
I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know.
No,
This is what I'm showing you is that, dude, you're gonna run into this when you do this stuff.
no, that's okay. I like the
Yeah.
if I need to be corrected, please. I'm
Then
open to
he
learn.
said, look, hold on. He said, slow down. I'm learning. So
Okay.
remember, keep in mind, you have deceivers that are deceived as well. Just advice. Just advice. Anyways, go
Appreciate
ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
I think I know what you're referring to. I think he's referring to the the whole war with the Nochitlan and how the tribes united with Cortez, and how to a certain extent I do hold the native tribes responsible for the destruction of the Nochitlan. Is that holy fool? Is that what your is that your argument?
Let's bring them up. Let's bring them up, bro. Let's bring them up. Listen, in this channel, we fucking debate everybody, bro. Let's bring him up. Let's bring him up. Let's see if he wants to fucking show up. Right there. Boom. So that's the link right there. Technically, if they're ballsy, they'll hit the link and then they're gonna link up like you, and they're gonna have something to say.
Okay.
So let's see if they have something to say. Hey, we'll wait for you. Unless you guys want us to go through like some video in the meantime and shit. What the hell? Hold on a second. You guys remember all the Mexican American soldiers coming up at the end? Okay, now. Let's see what they do. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me tell you this, man. I don't like to run my channel with just random, let me see who shows up type of shit. That's not the way I do it. I always have a schedule. I go to my classes. But I think that, you know what, today is a good day for us to kind of leave it open. There we go, right here. There we go, right here. Let me go. There we go. Let's see what this guy has to say. Go for it, brother.
Nah, what's going on? Peace, beloved. I just stumbled upon this live on YouTube, right? So I'm just trying to get an idea on what the focal point is here. If you don't mind explaining real quick.
You want to answer it real quick, Acero?
Sure. Well, initially, he was teaching me how to use this platform. But the focal point of all this is bringing our raza, and especially within the Mexican community, back to its original roots. Okay. And the philosophy is that if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're at, and you don't know where you're going. You have to understand your history so that you don't allow other people to tell you your history. The concept of Mexican, obviously, we've been taught that it's a nationality. It is true, but it only applies to the Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, people who don't have mestizo bloodline, meaning indigenous and European, Spaniard, or some form thereof. That's a mestizo. And how the word Mexican was originally created for mestizos, and the Spaniards just took over it and called it a nationality because they've been in control for 500 years and they don't have any indigenous lineage to them. So that's, that in September 16, how that's not an Independence Day. It's a false narrative. There was never any independence.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, this is just really to help people figure out their lineage, their identity, like where they come from, to get a sense of, who they are for themselves instead of letting other people tell them who they are, right?
Yes, sir. It's confidence, man. Confidence.
So my wife is Mexican, right? My father-in-law's from Puebla, right? I'm so-called Puerto Rican, but I don't know too much homework on my fellow Mexicans, so-called Mexicans, but I know my history on going back to Taino blood and things of that nature, right? So I got a question. Do you brothers believe in that the so-called Mexicans are from the 12 lost tribes of Israel?
I say I'm open to that, not even philosophy. I'm open to that truth. Because
all right. Can I answer it? Can I answer it?
Go ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Because you know what? That I know that. Look, first of all, let me say this real quick. This is the MESHIACHA Chronicle channel. We have a certain belief in what we teach in this channel. I invited this brother right here, and let me magnify him real quick.
Okay, so this is your channel, the one that's talking with no picture, with no video.
Yeah.
All right.
This is my channel,
What's
and
your
I
name,
would
brother?
have loved to have it written on his channel.
Okay.
Like I would have preferred it on his channel, but he's learning how to, right? Like how to use YouTube. And you know, a brother. Okay, let me say this real quick, man. I know it sounds simple. A brother told me, like, listen, man, I got a brother over here that he's trying to look alive and shit, and he's, you know, he's like doing the stuff that you do. I showed up and I was like, hey, bro, what's going on? And then he started telling me, and he was pretty like limited to the stuff that I already been doing. So I said, all right, man, I'll hook him up. And this is how we got into this live.
Okay.
I'm not trying to say I'm smarter than him, better than him. No. The brother's doing his stuff, so I'm being a brethren to help him.
But
I'm
this
being
is
a
y'all.
servant. Hold on a second.
Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
I'm being a servant. I'm being a servant to help him out. So now, to answer your question,
This is y'all first. Sorry. Just one question. This is y'all first encounter. Like y'all don't know each other.
Yeah. No, I don't really know the brother, man. I don't really.
Okay.
Know. Yeah. So now, your question was what? You have a wife or something? What?
No. So I asked him first, and I'm gonna relate it to you. Do you believe that the so-called Mexicans are a part of the 12 lost tribes of Israel that the Bible speaks of?
Damn right.
Okay, cool. Praise the Most High. Okay, because I do as well.
But listen, this is what offends always people. There is a history that has been provided to all of us that has not been honest to all of us. So we have to really reflect on who is Israel. Who are those people?
Right.
For example, was it only the white man that came and conquered us?
No.
Right. Who else was it?
Well, I know it was. So when you read Psalms, it was a conspiracy against the children of Israel. It wasn't only Esau, right? It was Elam. It was the Arabs. It was a bunch of different nations.
Man, exactly. See, that's regurgitating stuff. So I always ask, so who other than the white man came to this country?
It was a bunch of people. Specifically, you could educate me more if you have the answer. Because I was going to say Arabs, the so-called white people. It was Russians and white are usually put in the same bracket, but they're their own nation, right? Who else was it? Indian. It was a bunch of different nations. It wasn't only white. Just to answer your question, I can't really give you the specifics, but I know it wasn't only so-called white people.
Well, as far as I know, from what I've learned, and James Lewis Gates even said it himself, that when the first conquistadors showed up, it wasn't just white people.
Right.
It was black people.
Right.
But there was black people and white people that enslaved everybody in this continent.
And to build to your point, that the black people, because sometimes we talk about slavery, they'll tell us like, yeah, but you guys sold each other. But just because of complexion, they get mixed up on the nation, right? So just because two people are the same color doesn't mean that just because someone looks dark skinned, they all from Judah, right? People could be dark skinned, somebody could be from Judah, and then somebody could be a Hamite, right? So they can have this similar complexion, but be from two totally different nations. So it looks like it's violence on the same nation, but it's really separate nations who just may have some type of similarities, if you follow me.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Judah is not black.
So who do you believe Judah is?
Well, who do you believe Judah is?
That's what I'm saying. I believe Judah is according to Deuteronomy 28, where it says you will go to a land, put on slave ships, and part of the Atlantic slave trade, not only were Judites who were predominantly violated, right? It was Hispanics as well, even Native American Indians. But I believe that the Judites are the so-called African Americans who've been named with two different countries and continent, whatever the case may be. I believe the African Americans are the so-called African Americans are the Judites today.
Did you know that African Americans were enslaving people just like the white man since the beginning of time?
I know that there were people that were melanated that had skin that looked African American, like I said before, that were selling Israelites. They weren't Israel selling Israel. It was other nations that may have looked like Israel that was selling Israel to captivity because Israel has been under the curses.
So let me get this straight.
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you a picture right here.
This message goes out to all
Let me pause it right here because like this is crazy right here. Like, hold on, stop, man, stop it.
Can you make that bigger?
Yeah, it's right here. It says Portuguese came as slaves. An untold number of free people of African descent, black conquistadors born in Africa or in the Iberian Peninsula, accompanied Spanish conquistadors such as Hernan Cortez, which I have a lot of books about that shit, and Ponce de Leon, two of the famed explorers of the vast region that would become modern day Mexico. Hold on, let's take it. Shit. Hold on, my bad, man. That would become modern day Mexico and western and southern regions of the United States. And as we might expect of the United States, as you might expect, their exploits were just as heroic and just as problematic as those of their fellow conquistadors. But far from Africans came with Spaniards and Portuguese as slaves, servants, where with varying degrees of freedom, attendance, and armored adventure. Let me get to this point over here. I'm trying to get this video here. It says here, while the number of Africans explorers impossible to determine, they participated in some way in virtually all of the Spanish expeditions in the New World in the 16th century. These black conquistadors set an example of subsequent racial relations throughout the entire Spanish colonial experience. You guys were not, like enemies of the white man. You guys enslaved our people. Like, that's what the history says. This is why I always have a problem with when Hebrew Israelites want to claim Hebrew Israelism. And I'm like, bro, it's right in your face. You guys were never separate from the white man. You were their fucking best friend.
I'm not arguing with you about your point or the information you brought forth. What I'm saying is that everyone in Africa was not Israel. You understand? So if you just take Deuteronomy 28 and the curses that were promised to be upon the children and the people that didn't hearken unto the word of the Lord and went their own way, and you see who's dealing with those curses today out of Deuteronomy 28, even using statistics, you could put the Bible aside and see who has the most crime on one another, who has the most single parent households, who has the most domestic violence cases, who has been sold into slavery, all these different check boxes that we can check off to prove.
Can I ask you a question?
So-called, go ahead.
Who brought smallpox to America?
Who brought what?
Smallpox to America.
Smallpox?
Smallpox.
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 I don't know.
The black man.
So
you guys brought smallpox to America.
So black is a color, my brother. You understand? So we can't just say the black man did it and then everyone that has a melanated skin.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. Slow down, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Slow down. You just went from a different direction to another direction. I'm not trying to what I'm saying? I'm just trying to be logical with you.
Yeah.
Who brought smallpox to America? Okay, I'm going to say it like this. The Frenchman brought Frenchpox to America. The black man brought smallpox to America. Now, if you believe that you're the people of the Bible,
Mhm.
Deuteronomy 28 talks about that a nation from afar, from the end of the earth, is going to bring smallpox to America. So then, when did this happen to you, black folks? With all due respect, just saying.
Wait, what precept are you talking about smallpox coming to? Wait, say that one more time, please.
So,
Trying to follow you.
black folks brought smallpox to America.
So when you say black folks,
Do you want me to
mean
show you the book?
specifically who?
No, black folks, Negroes, brought smallpox to America.
Okay,
They're the
Negroes.
ones that decimated our people. They're the ones that killed our indigenous bloodline. Do you want me to show you?
So you're saying blacks are not from the tribe of Judah. So back to my other question,
Man,
right?
y'all Canaanites, bro. Y'all, what are you talking about?
Okay, so who's Judah? Who do you believe is Judah?
MESHIACHAs.
Who's MESHIACHAs?
We are.
But I just asked you if you thought Mexico was from the tribe. Oh no, we didn't. You just said Israel. You didn't say Issachar specifically, right? So you don't believe Mexicans are from the tribe of Issachar.
I don't believe in that 12-type chart shit.
Okay, at all.
So this is what I'm trying to tell you, bro. Like, if you look at history, and listen, I'm not saying that you're not a Hebrew. I'm not saying that. Okay, so be mindful, because I like what you're listening to. Who brought smallpox to America? It wasn't the white man. They brought French pox, okay? But black folks brought smallpox. So that the Bible says that, you know, there was going to be some people that are going to suffer from smallpox. And the Bible also said in Psalms 83 that there's going to be a bunch of nations that are going to contribute to our falling down.
Mm-hmm.
So then this is why I say, if you guys, all the people of the book, and listen, if you were, man, I'll give you that all day, bro. I'm
listen,
not,
bro.
hold on. Let me finish.
Go ahead.
I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater at all. Fuck no, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, man. If that's who you are, that's who you are. But it says here in Deuteronomy 28 and 27, the Lord shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emeralds, and with the scab, and with the itch, and whereof thou cannot be healed. That never happened to Negroes here in America. So show me when that happened to Negroes here in America.
So you're referring that precept to smallpox?
Like, you want me to give you more?
No, I'm saying, is that what you're doing? I'm trying to get some clarity on what you're saying.
That's just the beginning. Yeah. That's just the beginning.
So what I'm saying is, right, before you cut me, I was saying that I don't believe that so-called African Americans are just the tribe of Judah. Like I said, I'm Ephraim, right? According to my knowledge, I'm Puerto Rican. You understand? My father's 100% Puerto Rican, and there's been a lot of pollution with Puerto Rico being invaded and things of that nature as well, right? So most of us are not pure, any of us, right? But I'm saying that to say,
hey, listen, my brother, and I appreciate that you said that. If you're Boricua, then what you need to stop is listening to that tripartite chart bullshit. Because what you're doing.
Can I finish real quick? Can I just finish?
Listen to me. You asked me for advice. Because Boricuas are not Ephraim. That doesn't mean you're not Israelites.
All right, hold on, bro. Hold on. Just I know this is your platform, so I'm being respectful, right? I didn't ask for advice. I was just stating, you know, from my point of view, my stance, right? So I was saying that to say that I don't believe that only blacks and Hispanics, blacks and Puerto Ricans are from the 12 tribes. I was saying that the so-called Mexicans are our brothers as well. We salute y'all.
What I'm telling you is that Boricuas are not Ephraim.
No, I heard that. I heard when you said that, but you didn't let me finish my point.
Where did you get that idea that Puerto Ricans were Ephraimites? Where did you get that from? 12-type chart bullshit, right?
No, not only that. I did my own homework about certain stones in Puerto Rico and certain Hebrew texts from ancient artifacts and different things that I did my own homework on of Puerto Rico and how we were conquered and robbed and how we relate to the 12 tribes of Israel and the curses that were
and
put
you
on.
didn't hold on a second. Look, listen, I'm gonna be quiet right now, and I'm gonna let this brother speak right here because he has history knowledge, and it sounds so similar to what we all went through. Please, can you share that with him?
Man, because you guys are in a whole different spectrum. how can I would have to get context and how can I add to your guys' conversation? What would you like to know as far as history that I can
So
add to it?
okay, so I'm thankful because what he's saying is that there is a history that relates to him that says, "Oh, guess what? We have been here before. We are the people right there, and the Bible says who we are." This is exactly what you're saying. Like me personally, I don't do stuff like that. This is why I invited this brother over here because for a long time we've been sharing in this channel. And this is important, man. This is so important. And you know what, man? I'm not saying that you're not Hebrew. Never will I deny that shit from anybody, bro. But the last thing that we want in this channel, or at least in any understanding, is this. When the situations are going on right now, you see what's going on in the society, right? Who's getting deported, bro? Who's getting deported? Who's getting attacked? Who's going through all those things?
Well, I'm not sure if you know that on top of the so-called Northern Kingdom getting attacked, it's also the Southern Kingdom, like they're going into West Indian restaurants and deporting people that's been here forever, using the smoke screen of how they let everyone else in, right? And to deport other people that they may have been premeditating to get them out already. And they're kind of, the government's really tricky, right? So we may see one thing on propaganda wise, but we won't see the whole picture and the whole gist of everything. So I'm saying that to say, yes, our people are suffering, getting deported, but there are other people getting deported as well that we're just not seeing, like the so-called Trinidadians, Jamaicans, St. Kitts, Grenadans, and all these other people as well.
Hey, by the way, those motherfuckers aren't getting deported, bro.
No, they are, brother.
No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not.
There's articles and things of it and of that nature in New York City. I'm talking about restaurants and all
You're
that.
talking about like
people
one or
out
two.
as they're
You're talking
working.
about one or two of them getting deported.
I don't know exactly how many. I'm just saying this happening. But my point was, I'm sorry, bro. I'm gonna get out of here too, right? I don't want to go in like circles and stuff like that. But when I first came in here, I wasn't sure if this was surrounded around Christ, right? So even in the New Testament, I'm not sure what you guys' beliefs are, what y'all believe in. Identity to me is not doctrine. It's not what's most important. It is important, but it's not what's most important, right? Because what's most important to me when I came here was that we need to repent because we all sinning, no matter what nation we come from, no matter what our history is, no matter how much we've been lied to, right? We've all been in iniquity. We all been in sin, right? And Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and the only way back to the Father is through him. So what we really need to do, aside from our identity, is to identify with Christ and walk in his ways. That's loving your brother as you love yourself, loving the Most High with all your heart, your mind, your soul, your spirit, and keeping his commandments, brother, to get out of these curses and unify again, not feeding into the division that's already been put on us to divide and conquer, but to come together, the people that's fighting the same struggles for years, for centuries, over and over and over again, to build something together, share our resources, right? Come together and rise above the madness through Christ, through his word. You understand? And that's where my stance is at. Repent, get baptized in the name of Christ, and unify as a people and rise above all this madness. Because we're all being attacked by the same entity. You understand? The same nations, they're attacking all of us. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, we're all being attacked by the same system. You understand? That was my stance. And I yield right there. Now I'll wait for you to speak before I depart.
All good, man. Yeah, you got a good message. So good, man. And I walk. Acero, what you want to say?
He's right. I feel like in this time period, in the current state of affairs, we need to put our identities, our race to the side and unite because we're all being attacked, man. I didn't want to believe that at first, but I completely agree with him. It's time to come together, regardless of religious denomination, and back each other up, man. I agree with you 100%.
I'll say this, man. I've been teaching this shit for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
I always accepted the fact that these elites were just waiting for the collateral damage to be collateral damage. You know what I'm saying? They always they attacked us first. They wanted to get rid of us, indigenous people, with the mindset and shit. And now that they understand, like, fuck, man, I can't do that to them no more. Now I'm gonna destroy their own people. This is exactly what's going on. I'll say it like this, man, and I will always stick to this. And by the way, brother, you know, I'm glad you showed up because I think that see this country will never fucking solve their issues if they're never honest with themselves. Now that us indigenous brothers that have get a chance to read, because we only had a chance to read for the last 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
We were the last people that were given a chance to fucking learn how to read. So now that we know how to read, now we're gonna call you motherfuckers out. No offense, full stop. So we see stuff like this. Listen, man. These people wanted you guys from the get-go to be eliminated. They didn't give a fuck about you. You guys are collateral damage. They never cared about what's going to happen. They said it very clear. Fuck illegals, fuck aliens, fuck Mexicans, fuck indigenous, fuck black people, fuck everybody. That's what they said since the get-go. And we've been dealing with this since 1776. And I know you guys are like, oh, 1776. No, I'm telling you, man. They wanted to be an elitist since the get-go. White folks in power don't give a fuck about white folks in poorness. Do you understand that shit?
Right.
They never cared for you, for me, for them, for anybody. Because guess what? Since 1772, and in my channel, at least I can do this shit. Freemasonry, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys are like, oh, that's great. No, man, I'm telling
No,
you.
that's not. That goes back to Tubal Cain. I saw some comments. That goes back to Tubal Cain.
Thank you. Matter of fact, I did a video the other day about Tubal Cain and where that came from and what this all leads to. So it's like we sit back and we're like, oh man, you know, this is so hard, and why the fuck are they doing this shit? And how come they're fucking being so hard on us and shit? Why the fuck do you think they're doing it? They're at their peak. They wanted to make sure that they get rid of the brown people and the black folks, the ones that are the loudest, because white folks are very submissive. They're super submissive. They're going to be the ones be like, oh shit, all right, the white man's with me. I'm going to be oppressive. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Show your shit.
And you said something powerful, my brother, right? You said that they said, F us, forget us all, right? The so-called blacks, the browns, and the indigenous people, right? And they've been saying that for so long and so adamantly and so vividly to the point where we said F each other, right? Where it overpoured unto us to the point where initially they tried to eliminate us, and now we're eliminating each other, right? So going back to the point where I was coming at, how they try to divide and conquer, because just picture so-called blacks, so-called Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Colombians, Mexicans, and all these denominations were to come together and unify, knowing who we are, loving one another as we love ourselves, loving your daughter, your wife, your sister as I love my own.
So let me show you how. Let me show you how they separate us. Right.
I love. Let me just finish this point.
Let me say this. I like what you said. So, for example, all of us indigenous people, we always coordinate ourselves based on our family, right? You said, oh, our families, our protection, all these things. Listen, man, the way that they get rid of us is the communalism. Do you understand what that means? Communalism means I take care of my children. I take care of my older parents. I take care of you. I take care of me. Every time that I get a chance to take care of myself, I have a balance of who I am. When these guys showed up, they had no idea that we thought like that. They hated that shit. I will show you this shit. I'm telling you, man, they destroyed the communalism of our family.
I
The
believe
first
it.
thing they wanted to do was,
True.
nah, you guys can't rely on your elderly. You can't rely on your advice of your elders or your parents, or like, for example, I love my kids, man. They live with me. They were saying like, nah, fuck, don't do that. No, you can't advise your kids. They have to be individuals. So then all of a sudden, my daughter that I love, my kids that I love, that I'm trying to raise, they took them away and they just fucking made them have sex. That's what's happened. And this is why I want to make sure that you guys clear it up before you go and jump on some other topics. This is what they did. When they took your daughter from you, that I didn't want my daughter to like lose her virginity, they said, nah, don't even trip. I'm going to marry her with a 12-year-old, 13-year-old boy who has no fucking clue of what he's doing.
Is this a real testimony, or you're speaking theoretically?
I mean, listen, this is real historical facts, man. I'm not lying, bro. Like I always bring my shit out in my class, bro. I'm telling you right now, this is what they did.
So a personal testimony from you.
No, this is exactly historical facts. Like this is what
that's taking place in history. Okay.
Yeah, this is what they did. So, for example, if you have a daughter, do you have any daughters?
I just had a baby girl. Praise the Most High.
Good, bro. Let's say this: in 9 years, they're gonna take her from you, and you have nothing to say.
That's part of the curses as well,
right? And they're gonna do this. They're gonna say she can only learn Ave Maria, Padre Nuestro, Diez Mandamientos, and that's it. She cannot learn nothing else. Do you understand how heavy that shit is?
Yeah, that's from Deuteronomy 28 too, bro. You know it.
But this is why certain people should not take history from us, because this stuff is heavy. I'm sorry, man.
Right. You don't want to be this. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be part of that. You don't want to have to deal with that, right?
Sorry, my brother, I said, bro. Like I kept you go all quiet and shit, man. You've been quiet for a while, bro. Man, my bad, bro.
I get it.
I'm just saying, man. Like this is very painful.
But the last point before you interjected real quick, I was gonna say that they disregarded us so much and violated us so much that we started, and only violating us through the hand of the Lord, right? Giving them the permission from our disobedience and our lack of unity. So our violence is not the threat. Our division is not the threat. Our love for one another is the threat. Like you said, they didn't like the families and the community. You see how the so-called Jews live? How they police their own areas. They have schools in their own area. They operate separated from everyone else. When we were called to be holy and separate from the world, you understand? So our love for one another is the real threat. So instead of dividing more, we need to come together. Like this brother agreed with me here, and I'm pretty sure you could too. We need to come together again and revive that. And the word of God develops your conscience, and it teaches us how to love one another. It teaches us how to be disciplined and have self-control and not be emotional and not be impulsive, and to really move like men. You understand? So when we read that word, it creates that glue back together for us as a people, so we can rise above this and come back together.
Hey, my brother, man, you're all the floor, bro. I got nothing to say.
Nah, I yield there, bro. I yield there. You got anything to say, my brother?
I agree with you, but you know what? I think this is a moment where we need to kind of let this brother speak.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Nah, you guys are good, man. I agree with you. It's time to unite, and just unite. Put our differences to the side, and then come together, man. I think this is the perfect moment for that. I agree with you.
And I see you over there too, man. You look like you in shape. You doing your thing. You know. I see you over there, man. Stay healthy, my brother. Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I know a
Appreciate that,
soldier.
man.
I know a soldier when I see one, man.
Appreciate
Stay
that.
vigilant. Yes, sir.
Appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. Likewise to you too, man. And thank you for joining, man. I appreciate obviously MESHIACHA Chronicles, man. This was unexpected. I kind of just started a live, went off my gut, and it turned out to be great. So appreciate you tuning in, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, man. I have my own certain ideas and ideologies and shit, but I think that when it comes to uniting, we can put that shit aside for a moment and then figure out like what the fuck are we missing. I'm gonna say this right now. I have a lot of history in regards to who came here and what they've done and how come they abuse us and shit. But you know what I'm saying? Like when I bring it out, it's too blunt. It's very blunt, and maybe it's good to be that way. But now, you know, like let's take a step back. Look, for example, this brother right here. Like, matter of fact, let me bring him up. Hey, bro, let me bring him up. Let me bring him up. Let me bring him up real quick. Hey, IOC, what the fuck is it? IOCK. That's right. Hit the link, bro. I want to talk to you about something.
But before I depart, I just want to say thank you for having me, Chronicles. A pleasure to talk to both of you brothers. And God bless you both and your families, man.
All praise, man. Thank you.
Salute.
Likewise, man. Likewise.
Can't hate you for that shit. Yo, where you at? Peace and blessings. Nah, I guess he didn't want to show up. We have, so just this is the thing, man. You're gonna deal with people that show up and shit, and they want to hit the link and all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're learning some stuff today, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. This has been a topic that I've been asked about, especially about the Israelites, the Aztecs, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I've dived deep into it because I have not. I've done a very bare minimum when it comes to this side of the town. My specialty is more in the historical aspect, but nonetheless, it's good
Yeah.
stuff. I
Hey,
learned
listen,
new
brother.
things.
I'm not gonna hit you hard, bro. That's not. I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother Chris told me, "Hey, let me help. He needs to learn how to do this and shit." And I'm like, "All right, cool, sounds good." Hey, listen, brother. I give you my email. Like, I'll show you how to do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, take the time and do all that stuff. I'm not. That's and the reason why I did this is for that purpose. Like, how else are we gonna get to know our people if we ain't trying to open up the fucking doors and shit? You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, and I appreciate it. I didn't know, I just going based off YouTube and posting my content on YouTube, but this is definitely a great experience, and I
Yeah,
appreciate
man,
it.
that's good, brother. And by the way, there is I have some equipment that you know what I'm saying, you could use it too. I'll send it to you. Hold on. Before we go do that shit, man, where is this? Where is this right here? Who is this guy's gonna show up? I guess he's not gonna show up. I guess he's not gonna show up. Yo, so before we finish this channel and shit, to the event, let us know like you know who your channel is, brother, what you're trying to do, and you know what I'm saying, like just let us know and shit, so people can know.
Definitely. So, my real name is Emmanuel Acero. My channel is Acero Cultura Anahuac. It's named Acero Cultura because it's my version, my interpretation of history regarding our Mexican and Nahuatl people. The main objective is to bring and awaken the Quetzalcoatl within all mestizo indigenous Mexicans. I do believe that within our DNA, we do hold a bank of knowledge, and we just have to crack it open so that we can regain our identity back. and that's my objective.
Yo, yo.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Can you want to stick around for a little bit?
Well, I'm actually gonna call it a night.
Okay, cool. Sounds good, brother. Let the people know, bro. You good?
Okay. Well, thank you guys for having. Well, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate your time. And to everybody that got got to know me today, if you're interested, I have a YouTube channel called Acero Cultura Nahuatl. Any questions? I do have my email. Hopefully, pretty soon we can do this again. And yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Hey, say the channel again. Say it slowly, bro, so that people can find it.
Okay.
You know,
So it's
slow, bro.
Acero
It
Cultura.
is slow, bro. Just say it slow.
It's Acero Cultura Anahuac. So yeah, if you guys want to follow me, go ahead. If not, you guys have questions, whatever it is. If I don't know, I'm gonna tell you that I don't know, but I'm gonna find out.
Take a pedo, bro. Love that shit. Cuídate, hermano. Have a good night.
Well,
Yes, sir.
That was it.
Let me close this real quick. All right. So here we go. So you see what I mean? Man, you guys are fucking perverted, bro. You don't even give the guy a fucking break. So I'm gonna show you some shit. And I don't even like to do it. This is so fucking ridiculous. Oh damn. And by the way, that shit is more popular. Wow, it's crazy. So we're gonna do this right here. Oh wait, hold on a second. Look at this guy. Put it in the description, Chronicles. So let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Why don't you do what you do right here? You see this? It's right after you. Damn, bro, you are weak. I don't understand why you can come to my channel and assume that I don't even fucking know what I'm talking about. Okay, there you go. That's it. I like to fucking have you here. Oh, hey, what's up, brother? What's up, brother? What's up, brother?
Peace, brother. What's up?
Peace, brother, man. Nah, nothing much, man. What's up? What's going on?
I don't know. You have a couple questions for me?
Nah. I just wanted to invite you here.
All praises. Thanks, brother.
So what you got to say?
It's nice. It's nice to be on your platform.
It's always good, man. What you got to say to the people, bro? I mean, since you know that we are the Israelites of the Bible.
If I had a message, it would be to be a light to the world, to be an example to the other nations, and to be the mediator between God and the people that you were destined to be.
That's it.
That, I mean, that's the most I can say is that the Most High chose you to be above all nations.
Well, he didn't choose
So,
me. You know what I'm saying? He didn't choose me. You know what I'm saying? He chose these people. He chose them.
well, I
He
mean,
chose them. He chose them.
yeah, but I mean, wouldn't you consider yourself a modern day Israelite?
Yeah, but I don't want to choose me, bro. Like, cause that's too much. I don't want that.
Well,
I don't want that. I don't want that honor. Like, I'll let it be.
well, brother, no disrespect, but that attitude is the problem that got the Israelites in the predicament they're in now. They never wanted the responsibility. They wanted the covenant, but they didn't want to play the role
Listen,
that they had to play.
I'm never gonna be proud of like the gift of what I get chance to get away from. I'm not gonna ever be proud of that. If that's what you're saying, I'll never be proud of that because guess what? That's man. Okay, so let's move on.
Well, what I'm saying knows you, correct? So no, it's not to be proud. You must accomplish.
Hey, what's going on? Did you like lose? What on? No more? Damn. Damn. What's going on? Here we go. Here we go. There
Yep,
we
yep.
go, there we go, brother. We're here. We're here.
All right. So, what do you think about what I said
About what?
about you having to step up and be the man the Most High wanted you to be?
Wait, hold on. What did you say?
I said you have to step up and be the man the Most High wanted you to be.
Yeah, and
And it's tough, but somebody has to do it.
okay. And
And you don't think that you want that?
I don't think I'm that guy, bro. Nah, fuck no. I don't even want to claim myself to be that guy. I mean, maybe I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been through a lot of walks, and I could say like, yeah, that's me. Nah, bro. I don't even want. I don't even want that. That shit is horrible. What are you talking about? The last thing I want to fucking do is be responsible of a whole nation of people that have no decisions of who themselves are. This shit is crazy.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know?
Moses felt the same way. Moses,
Yeah.
there was times when Moses told the Most High that why did he have him do this? Because he also felt it was difficult.
I don't want that shit. I'm sorry about you guys, but I don't want that. I don't want that responsibility. So look, listen. I will be said, and I think it's very standard of how we have lived through this like example. And listen, bro. Um, man, this is so difficult. I'm gonna say it like this. I am putting together an aquarium, right?
Hmm.
125 gallon aquarium. Okay.
Okay.
And I did not ask white folks. black folks, Asian folks. I did not ask them to help me. I simply took charge of what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a 125-gallon aquarium in my house with lights on top, and I wanted to have what do you call those things? A reef. But apparently, that shit is difficult for people. I went through the process. I created the fucking table. I did all those sorts of things. And what happens? Well, shit, my son's having a hard time. Hey, listen, family. Okay, for you guys that know my family, hold on. Let me let this guy in. Hey, how you doing, bro?
Yes, sir. Good.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. What you got to say?
Yeah, I just want to end it with this. That you're definitely on the right road because you started a channel and you are leading, a lot of people to the truth. So you're definitely on the right road. It's not going to be easy. It's definitely not something that anybody would want. So I understand why you say that. But hats off to what you're doing in your channel. And you may not want to play the role, but you're already doing it. So maybe that came naturally. But I just wanted to say that. And, I do enjoy what you teach and the knowledge you bring.
Thank you, my brother, man, because you want to know something, man? I can hear my son right now, like crying and going through his bullshit. So, yeah. Thank you for being there, brother. Thank you for fucking supporting that shit. Because you want to know something, man? Ain't nobody over here trying to fucking figure out who the hell I'm dealing with, bro. Like, I'll give an example. My wife is out here right now battling with him. And then some people say, oh, but you know what, bro? We don't give a fuck about you, bro. We're just going to be illegals. I don't know, man. I don't even know how to react to it. To be honest with you. I don't know how to react to it. Fuck, man. Anyways. So, I guess that's what it is. I'm going to tell you something, family. I have a family member that is going through that shit right now. And they don't give a fuck about her.